I know how to see a whack MC when he bustin', but I just back away real cool, no fussin'. I'd rather go kicking in the streets with the bums and use the knowledge to collect what? Some funds, open a non-profit and build a damn school. And this is the story of how a great king rules. There's many that claim to know the local demographic, but don't have the nerve to tell you the truth. It's tragic, but I do, so sit back and let me spit this shit to you. You feel better when I spit this shit to you. Despite the system trying to clamp down on the people will learn how to stand up to evil. Not evil that's across the globe, that's too far, but evil that lies in their own backyard. And fighting, it's not an option, they can't win. The government, it's not supposed to represent sin, but then again they do, and that's a problem. So let's go down and figure out how to solve them. It's not fun being a rapper that can't speak, but we do, yes, and plus we make fat beats. Yo, we smoke weed, break up trees. Listen, bringing fat beats, that is our mission. You wanted to see us, homeboy, shut up and listen. Thelonious and Big Bennett, brother, check the vision. Mentalities of different realities. Enter the Star Trek room when you hear the boom. I be the Walkman with the super bass. Automatic stop, yes, stereo cassette player. With the delayer, freaky lyrical sprayer. Extraterrestrial rhyme sayer. I be the poetical VIC/master of the ceremony. Tenderoni, won't you come step with me? I'm on a historical journey, kinda like Sigourney. Implore me to represent the attorney that represents my niggas, go figure. It's the card, they call me Uncle Bigger. Niggas love your blunts, down your liquors. I read the parallel to the fiction. You're fixated on this brother's nature. Relaxed behavior, I might save your change. Flip it, rearrange the whole concept. You was good for all your brain. Insane, psychotic, neurotic, black onyx, and hooked on phonics. Just atomic, bees like a bonnet. Cut with the Asiatic, they all up on it. Rhyme static with the bombastic type of skill. You wonder, is this nigga Vic really for real? It's still, but only necessary in the berry. I'm milk like dairy, they quite contrary. That's scary, but I'm a dog in a prairie. I scurry to grab my bones and just bury. Lyrical flurry, go get your secretary with impeccable dictions. My style might vary, so get a hold of your own shit real fast. Fucking with us, we take it right out your ass. Prairie dogs chill while the other dogs howl. Too many dogs get sent to the pound. Back on the hill, me and my peeps just lounge. Prairie dogs, we keep it on the down. Splatter, don't like gun splatter. We try to climb the ladder, wicked men get better. They make it like splatter, but it really don't matter. Cause you know we coming back to our sons and our daughters. So father him the one who protects ya, and the mother she will never neglect ya. Through divine nature the people respect ya, and in this way I deliver my lecture.
Check. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Alright. Yeah, it is 096 March 17th Central European Time. And that makes it 306 Eastern Standard Time America. And that makes it what? 12 or 1? 106? 106 Pacific Time, right? 12, between 12 and 6, depending on where you are. But what's up, everybody? Back at it again. And you know, every once in a while, it takes time to reflect on what's going on. The news is moving so fast, and yeah, there's a lot to be said about what's going on. But I don't want to fucking be repetitive And at times, some of the news cycle can be repetitive. The one that we all follow. I mean, and I follow some good networks. Like number one, I think the for international news, I follow a lot of Midas Touch, right, and national news. And but then I follow a lot of other podcasters that are, beyond that, like the Roland Martin show. I like to watch his from time to time because it gives you a good look at what maybe Black America is sensing. And since he's been doing that podcast since podcast started, you know what I mean? I like to check him out a little bit, but it's too many to name. Jack Cocciarelli. I watch his shit too. He's very interesting, and he's good. He does some good reporting. But in any case, sometimes a lot of the stuff can be repetitive too, because we all tend to follow the news cycle. Like, what is the latest news, And it occurred to me, by the way, is the audio good? Let me know if the audio is good. Maybe it's a little better now. Yeah. And it occurred to me that, there's things that we take for granted when we do podcasts. Like a lot of, and it's not just people that do podcasts, people that have a lot of information tend to take things for granted. And we forget at times, everyone hasn't really gotten all the news you may have gotten. And this is why I brought up the situation in Sudan in conjunction with this situation that's going on right now with Trump, because I really hope that podcasters start framing this differently, and even the news. And because this will tell you a lot about what's actually happening if you examine these two moving parts together, the Middle East and the Sudan and the what is it called, the Western Sahel. If you just examine all of that, the Western Sahel, at the same time you examine the Middle East, it will punch some holes in a lot of theories. And one thing that I found is that a lot of people like to get bogged down into sides. Listen, I'm an American myself, but I'm not on the side of wrong at any time. And I would advise people to not pick things that, not pick a unilateral side all the time. Like, a lot of people do that, get kind of bogged down into maybe left, right is a good example in the U.S., right? That dynamic, Republicans and Democrats, and argue these talking points and narratives. Other people get bogged down in East and West and the Cold War and just repeating these same narratives over and over and over. And I find that shit is not healthy. It's also kind of, I guess you could say, C grade perspective on it, So what I've started doing, and I'm going to continue to do this, is point out some things regarding the Sahel and show you how it doesn't, a lot of this stuff is actually it shows you that really what's going on in these areas is imperialism, like straight up. And it's not imperialism in the way you might think, because people like to, most of the time when you go to social media and you hear the word imperialism, what you hear is Western countries. That's what we've allowed social media to coin imperialism as in our young people's minds. And a lot of people think that like imperialism just means fucking the West and that's it. Just stop. Don't talk about anything else. No, everybody else is good and you're the imperialist. It's kind of like wearing cheap clothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate those kind of approaches to conversations. And I find it to be kind of bullshit, because if you really want to be real, if you want to fucking be real, okay, you have to understand imperialism comes in many shapes and forms. Right. And all parts of the world have had their imperialists, especially the East. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever forget that. You know what I mean? A lot of times people from the West, we only tend to reflect on Western imperialism. Right. But we forget that the East has fucking imperialism. And when you look at how they behave pretty much the same way. It's about, how do I bag some resources? And they have a lot of argumentations, like, for example, we use terms like terrorism. Yeah, okay, but isn't terrorism a little worn out? State sponsor terror, isn't it kind of worn out when we talk about Iran? Like, what does it do for the conversation? Does it allow us to try to understand their perspective? Not that you have to agree, because I don't agree. I I don't fucking agree with this type of government, period. You know what I'm saying? I'm not into that, and that's just how it is. It's nothing personal. That's not what I'm into. But it doesn't mean that they can't be right sometimes, you know, and even a broken clock is right sometime, you know what I'm saying? Once a day, twice a day, maybe, depending on what kind of clock you got. But Iranians, you know, they're not stupid either. You see what I mean? So they have their narrative and their goals set out, what they want to achieve in the Middle East, and so do a lot of other people. And then we have your usually when we think of imperialism, I'm not saying Iran is an imperialist nation, but I'm also not saying I'm not removing anybody off of that, right? To be honest, when you look at people's behavior, right, and also the views towards others, the rationale for why they do something as they explain it. You know, but typically when we look at imperialism, we look at it as like the United States, the EU, and we usually stop there. Right. But modern day today, if we were to use this term today. Right. Sure, we have Trump there. Trump is there. Right. But listen, there's other factors besides Trump that makes this situation what it is. And this situation would not be happening today if there weren't some other players at the table. And we always have to remember, China and Russia are at the dinner table. They're at the table. This is in a space where they want to have influence, right? And they see this as part of their sphere of influence, especially Russia historically. Russia and the Western world have always been at war over the Middle East in our lifetime. Right. We've seen many things, and Eastern Europe. We have seen many things play out. Right. The breaking up of Russia, because Russia's a big fucking country. I mean, no, you know, fuck all of that. Stop kissing Russia's ass. They have colonized. How do you think they got so goddamn big? You think they got it through like giving out chocolates and shit to people? No, they took people's lands and killed people. That's what they fucking did. And they did it in the name of fucking imperialism under the guise of something else, you know, under the guise of the new thing, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is they're promoting and shit. Communism. Yeah. We're just going to put on communist clothes and people forget our history. No. Russia was in fact an imperial colonial nation for quite some time and has a lot of dealings with other imperialistic colonial nations too. And those nations in that region, they all remember each other and have documented these histories. But nonetheless, today, when we look at what's going on in Iran, right, this conflict with Iran has been there. They're a great old empire. You know, Persia's a great old empire. They're part of it. You know what I'm saying? So they see themselves as having some business to do in that region. Yeah, it's part of their psyche. It's part of what they identify as, what identifies them, what defines them, you know, just as much as Russia sees Eastern Europe as being, you know, part of its, you know, sphere of influence. Great Mother Russia. Why do you think they call it Mother Russia? When they say Mother Russia, they're talking about imperialistic Russia. That's what they're talking about. You see what I mean? And don't ever forget it. Then you have China. China, yes. China didn't just, you know, start 250 years ago. They have an identity. They see themselves as great and they want to have influence. You see what I mean? And also, it is kind of weird when you have empires that see themselves as victims and also see themselves as saviors. You know what I'm saying? But this is what we got in Russia and China. We have empires that see themselves as saviors to other people, but the history has been dominance of other people. Like, do not get it twisted. And nonetheless, that brings us to the western part of the world, right? And what has happened? Native Americans, slavery. But not that Asia didn't have slavery. They had slaves. China had slaves. Russia had slaves, even though Russia will pretend like they didn't. But where do you think the word Slav comes from? Come on, like wake up. You know what I mean? Don't fall for anybody's propaganda. Because you fall for anybody's propaganda, you got no chance of understanding what's happening or where this shit is going. You see what I mean? You may as well just stop and just go join a religion and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not looking down on religions, but I'm just saying, like this, you can just close everything else out and pretend it doesn't exist. And yeah. But in any case, so Sudan is part of this picture. Why? Because the same players are in Sudan. Duh. They've been there for 50 years. I talked to Friars. I had a little messaging session with Friars too, just in the last 24 hours. Yeah. And he also said, he brought up, it's been going on for 50 years there. Yeah, Sudan, colonialism has existed in North Africa for a long time, but we're dealing with a new level of colonialism. It's not the old discussion of 50 years ago, although Russia, different countries have been, through that area. But in this day and time, it's pretty much the same players that are in the Middle East right now. So you got the UAE, you got Saudi Arabia, you got Iran, and lo and behold, Iran and Saudi Arabia in Sudan are actually on the same side of the war. Yes. That's strange, right? And there's a lot of other strange coincidences where things get mismatched. Things that are over here that you would think are norms, and they preach about what's going on. They all have their perspective in the Middle East. When they bring their ass into Sudan, all of a sudden they could be friends. You see what I mean? Or they can have a different perspective. They just flip the total script, like seriously. And we need to see this as a broad. No coincidences. Exactly. We need to see this as what it is. And it is broad, and it's huge. It's large. And to just look at this thing with, as the Middle East alone, it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange. It's kind of like baby food, feeding people, bits at a time, little pieces of the puzzle. You know what I mean? But having said that, there's a lot of news and relating to both. And so we're going to get started. Yo, what's up, Friars? Eric. Yeah. But in any case, the latest news is that no one fucking wants to join Trump. And yes, if you ask me, it is a trap. It is a design. It is not an accident. It is rehearsed. It is planned. It is coordinated. China knows that Russia is its little bulldog, and Russia has Trump by the neck. And yes, if you ask me, my perspective, and it's very simple. Trump is trying to set up the Western world. Trump has sold out the West. He's trying to he's doing everything he can do to split up NATO. And he's doing it at Putin's behest. It's part of a plan, a series of stages, things that can be tried, things that can be done, that irritate and aggravate. And, not that the EU is weak or anything like that, or Canada is weak. No, these countries are strong, and they're letting you know it. They're going to wake some people up in a second. And why people went to sleep for so long, I have no fucking clue. But if you do the math, you will see right away that, the EU is not going to be backing down. You see what I mean? And they're not going to be pushed around. And it's a shame that the language has to be like that. But the language is the language of Trump. It's the Trump era. This is what Trump wanted. He wanted to treat allies this way. And the effects are allies are not going to bite the bait of follow Trump into the Middle East. Because first of all, what the fuck does Trump want there? What was the reason? There was no clarity. Netanyahu, where is he? He's like, where is he? Where is the joint meeting? Where's the joint discussion with Netanyahu and Trump on TV in the White House talking about this war that they started? You know how many billions of dollars have been spent? The American people deserve to see their faces together, telling everyone what is going on, what's going to happen, why it happened, and I mean, that's just if you ask me. But I'm not saying Russia and Israel have the same goals. I'm not saying that at all. In the game of survival, anybody can get got. You know what I'm saying? Anyone can be friends and anyone can be enemies. You see what I mean? And then in the name of survival, if it's going to have to be, these kind of rules. But it doesn't have to be the same goals for them to intersect. And for some reason, with Netanyahu's goal, this Iran thing being constantly at war with Iran and Iran constantly being at war with Israel, right? That intersected with whatever Putin's plan is with Trump. That's my view of it. You see what I mean? And so now you see this happen. You see what I mean? Now you see this game play out, but they can't tell you what it's about because it's about a whole lot of shit that, is not going to be said. But in any case, who does it serve? While you have the Wagner Group in Sudan and others, right? You got the UAE, you got Iran and Sudan, all the same players in Sudan, pretty much. They right down in Sudan doing some other shit together. Like, damn, what's this all about? But in the Middle East, it's kind of like it's set up differently, right? Now, they're opposing forces to some degree. Now, who does this war benefit? It obviously benefits Putin for many reasons. Number one, it gives the EU something to think about economically. The issues with oil, right? Financially and then the oil thing, right? Transport wise, these kind of things, energy, right? So it gives them a crisis to deal with. That's all it's about. Just presenting another crisis to the EU because the EU has been supporting Ukraine against the Russian invasion, which it really is an invasion. And a lot of people got on this Russian disinformation spree when Russia's the biggest country on earth, justifying Russia taking some other country when it's like you got some goddamn nerve. If you support Russia taking Ukraine, shut the fuck up about colonization. What is the point in even talking about it if you don't stand on it? You know what I mean? Because that is exactly what that is. And there is nothing more to it. It is the game of colonization. And of course, Russia depends on the EU. How can I say this? They need the EU to spend and waste money on a lot of things so they don't support Ukraine. This is all about trying to get them to not support Ukraine. And Trump, if you ask me, Trump knows that. He's playing along with that because him and Putin are friends. Putin got the red carpet. Trump has removed sanctions. He's done everything to be a friend of Putin, and Putin ain't done shit for Trump. You know what I'm saying? Or the U.S. So, this is the Russian Trump diplomacy. It's not the United States of America Russian diplomacy. So whatever people get, whoever gets something out of these deals that Trump is doing for Putin, it's only Trump himself. It's not the United States. It fucks up the United States. It fucks up NATO, but he's going to do it anyway. Now, how does it benefit? Russia gets to sell more gas too. They're making a lot more money. Just like the U.S. is making money off gas, but the U.S. gas doesn't really do shit for the American people. The gas companies don't really. It's not like it's nationalized. It's not like there's a healthcare program or a social security program that's financed by money from the oil. No, this is all, capitalistic shit. You know what I'm saying? So the public doesn't really benefit on that. And in fact, proof to power, the public is paying more for gas because of that. You see what I mean? So even though it's a natural resource that the United States has a huge natural resource of oil, but it's privatized and it's capitalized in the most extreme way. It's not owned by the American people in any percent. You see what I mean? So Americans don't benefit from it. There's also no laws that restrict the oil companies in the U.S. from hiking their prices up in the U.S. I'm not saying you shouldn't make money on it outside, and sell it for whatever it's worth. But inside the country, it should benefit the people of the United States, and it doesn't. It's just like saying it's oil from another country. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But this is how our politicians have treated the American people for some time. It's nothing new. Americans have gotten used to it, basically, while other people don't even know why that shit is even made that exists that way, because it doesn't exist that way in their country. Now, so it helps Russia in a lot of ways. The U.S. is making more money, but it's privatized. Putin needs money coming in the coffers to fund his war. Russia is broke. Russia's fucking broke, yo. Like, you gotta understand that Russia is the biggest geographical country on earth, only has 150 million people paying in. That's its harnessed, and the economy is built on oil, nothing else. They haven't invested in the oligarchs have taken the money, hoarded all the money, and it's not spread around to the people. So the people, don't have any incentive to do a damn thing, pretty much in Russia, So, so Russia, I don't know what kind of lifestyle you live right now, but it's pretty much only a step up if you come from a third world country. You know what I'm saying? If you come from a first world country, you don't want to go. You don't need to. The U.S. is not. The U.S. is wild as fuck, but it ain't Russia. You see what I mean? And to create what is going on in Russia, it had to exist like that for a long time. Americans are only used to having Trump. You see what I mean? And pretty soon Trump is going to be gone. Americans' mindset is not the same. Americans have guns. They have more guns than the citizens of China and Russia put together. You see what I mean? Because China doesn't want its citizens having guns because they would probably overthrow the government, and Russia definitely doesn't want it. You see what I mean? But Americans have a lot of guns. So things are going to go a little different regardless. There's elections and things like that. But in any case, how does it help China? Well, how does it help China? It helps Russia in one other way, to push people away from the West and push people into the arms of Russia and China. That's what this is about. So they're using Trump as a tool, as a dog, to push people away from NATO and push them towards China. So they're using the oil as a tool to punish India, punish Taiwan, punish the more so Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, the place where China and others, the places where China would like to expand its sphere of influence. But these are people that understand China's got 1 billion people, and that presents an obstacle to them because they could easily be taken over and run over. You see what I mean? So people tend to want to have other options outside of China because they don't want to empower their own demise economically or physically. You see what I mean? So that's what that's about. Well, Trump is pushing them in that direction. He's doing everything to push them in that direction. Yeah, China got no weed, no guns. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, that's what y'all want, But I'm not personally trying to diss them, but that's just an example. Like Eric said, no weed, no guns and shit in China. Okay, well, experience it. It has a lot of beautiful things, but you go there and live there for a while. You have to live in a place before you know how it is. Visiting it is great, but living in it is a whole nother experience, no matter where you're going. But having said that, it does help China because it's pushing people towards China. Economically, it's also pushing people towards China because, look, China's expanding. China's number one pretty much in green energy, right? Like they're producing solar panels. They're producing EV cars, distributing them everywhere. They got power station networks that are expanding. You see, so China is coming up. They also produce a lot of other shit that they sell to people. You see what I mean? And when folks talk about making sure that China plays fair with them, because China copies things, copies technology. They've been accused of that, right? They might copy your chips, they might copy anything that you create. So in line with that, people have said, okay, what we will do is we will be cautious about China. We'll work with them, but we will limit how much, we will measure how much, not limit, but measure in each way we deal with China to make sure that they don't become too powerful. that they're a problem for everyone else. Now, of course, China doesn't give a fuck about that. China wants all the power it can get because why? Yeah, if it's out there, why not? I mean, other people want power, right? So that's how they see it, right? But I'm an everyday Joe. I'm a worker, everyday worker. Got a union job and have kids and have a normal life. You see what I mean? 9-to-5 job, you could call it that, 9-to-5, full-time job. I have my kids that I take care of, yeah. And then I have my little, things that I do on the day to day, my personal things. But I'm a regular Joe, so I'm not capping for another goddamn imperialistic country. What the fuck? I'm not hipping. I'm not saying, yay, China, take over the world. Yay. No. And I'm not saying that about Russia. Russia's not my hero. I live in Denmark. I live in a decent country and where people have fucking rights. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying hip, hip, hooray, China. Come and save me, because they're not coming to save you. They're coming to take over. You better understand that. And so is Russia. And you know this by how they behave. They fund fucking war. Don't you understand that? If they would fund war and genocide in places that, you know what I'm saying, then they don't give a fuck about you. You know what I'm saying? They're looking to squeeze whatever they can get out of you like a goddamn grape. You see what I mean? Like, seriously, that's just what it is. And you can look at the behavior. When was the last time you saw legacy media, legacy news, talk about all the death in Sudan? When was the last time you saw that? Why do you think that is? You see what I mean? Why do you think that is? Exactly. And who really cares? Because the death has been going on for a long, long time. And waiting for the same people in the Middle East to stop death is dumb when they don't fucking stop it in Sudan. You see what I mean? They're not stopping it in Sudan. That shit has been raging for how long now? It's a worse crisis than Gaza. It's one of the only places that could really say that, and it has been prolonged. You see what I mean? So people really need to put it into context, and so that that's what I want to check out today. But of course, we have the legacy news. So I want to start off, before we get into that, watching some of the Europeans totally reject Trump and just be like, man, fuck Trump. I don't know what the fuck Trump is talking about. And it's hilarious. Hold on. Let me pull it up here. Can I pull it up? Let me see. Where is it at? Yeah, they basically been like, Donald Trump can kiss our fucking ass. And it is what it is. If he doesn't like it, oh well. Here we go. Let's listen.
This war, we did not initiate it, but we are all affected by it.
Now this is in Oslo yesterday. So this is the Canadian PM. Who else is there? The Danish Prime Minister from Denmark, right? Our Prime Minister here. And who else? The Norwegian Prime Minister and others. And they're basically saying they're not fucking with Trump on this. Trump has to do this shit on his own. Here it is.
So I think there's a clear call here. We are not part of this war. We did not initiate it, but we are all affected by it. So I think there's a clear call here that the international law must be respected. And it should be the responsibility of the concerned parties to find ways of ending the hostilities that now have great impact around the world.
Yes.
We are concerned to see that there is still an escalation.
So I think this was brilliant by these countries to stay back, because it almost looks like Trump is trying to set them up. Trump is trying to draw them into a conflict to get them to use resources, money, dollars, weapons, so that they won't be able to shore up their eastern flank to protect themselves against Russia, and to distract them from their goal that they set out to do. And that is produce more weapons, build up their defenses, right? Isn't that what Donald Trump said? Yeah. So, and not be drawn into this situation, into the Middle East. Now, who would reward someone? Did Netanyahu, knowing him, and he's a worldly man, he knows what's going on. He's talking to people every day. Did he pick up the phone and ask any of these people what they thought? Did Donald Trump pick up the phone and ask any of these people what they thought? Should we invade? We're about to bomb Iran. What do you think? Did they do that? Did they do them the courtesy of that? No, it doesn't appear that they did. But now it shows you that due to either poor planning or pretending, I don't know which one it is. It could be both. But let's say at the very least, there's poor planning. And they're in a situation where they appear to be asking other people to help them. And I would say Trump is probably playing. He's the one who's probably playing, because why would you want the EU there when you just went out and attacked the EU, talked about taking Greenland, talked about, dissed EU culture. You see what I mean? Like really trying to diss European culture and things like that, and which is embarrassing as an American to watch, to see a president dare insult our allies. He wants to invade Canada. This MF wants to invade Canada, and so it shows you that I mean, how can you have a problem with everyone in NATO? He got a problem with Europeans, so they go talk this fake bullshit. Like, European culture is struggling and you're in danger and you're going to lose who you are, your identity soon. Okay, well, is that what you're saying? Okay, we get how Elon Musk likes to split people up before he comes and buy your country. We get that. And we get how the EU was like, fuck Elon Musk. He's got to get the fuck out of here. He's trying to, destroy people. But when they say this kind of stuff, then, okay, let's just say people have problems there. Then what was your excuse for trying to invade Canada then? What's their problem? Same thing. Why do you want to make them the 51st state? So the truth is that Trump doesn't like any ally of the United States of America. He's fucking invading them. You know what I'm saying? He's talking down about them. He's putting sanctions on them. And these people today, I'm just so happy to hear them. There's Carney right there to the left. I'm so happy to hear them say, let the world know, and these Trump supporters, that they're not going for your little dumbass trick. They're not going for your little Putin trick. Okay? Like, go get another fool. That's basically what they're saying. Go find somebody else. Bye, Felicia.
I think we are not part of this war. We did not.
Trump wants Cuba too. Exactly. And look, Cuba, Cubans are Americans. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with Trump. You know what I'm saying? Come on. What is it? They're our neighbors. They haven't done anything to us. Cuba has done nothing to the U.S. In fact, all of that problems that you saw with the U.S. and Cuba is all the U.S. fault. Why is it the U.S. fault? Because Castro came to the United States first for help and they rejected him. The man came on a workers' rights struggle, a struggle for fucking people to get a fair wage when they go to goddamn work in the fucking fields. You know what I mean? And the Americans said, no, we're not going to help you. If they just said, yes, you're our neighbor, people deserve to have a dignified life. You shouldn't abuse your workers like that. You shouldn't have open slavery. If they had just done that, things would have been different. So the United States has to take the blame for all that bullshit, but they haven't done anything to us. They haven't really, they've been Cubans, and it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, just like Venezuelans too, they are Americans. They have the same history that we have. We are them. They are us. You see what I mean? They are natives. They are European descent. They are African descent. They are, this is their history. You see what I mean? So in all actuality, they're closer to us than anybody else. And you have a dumbass like Trump that doesn't want to work with lifting up Americans. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to make America strong. You see what I mean? Now, when it comes to workers' rights, now when it comes to protecting people, right? Now minorities, now when it comes to fairness, now when it comes to education, now when it comes to healthcare, now when it comes to housing, he's not trying to work together with Americans on shit. So I'm happy that Europeans see this. Guess what? Europeans, clap your hands. Be proud of who you are, because at least you're not as fucked up as Donald J. Trump, because Donald J. Trump doesn't do half of what you've accomplished. You see what I mean? If we had the brains in the United States to actually learn from you and notice what you're doing, we would be 1,000 times stronger. We would be fucking invincible. But no, we have these right-wing parties that sit around with molesters and pedophiles and get blackmailed. That's our problem. So they're just working for the rich. They got them blackmailed, that always wanted to oppress people. So you're never going to get health care out of these fucking assholes. Like all of Europe has health care. You're never going to get health care out of these motherfuckers in the US because they're all blackmailed. Right? You're never going to get fucking education out of the US because they're all fucking blackmailed. That's what this is about. Oppressing people. You see what I mean? So, and they're oppressing their own goddamn people. That's even fucking worse. You see what I mean? So Europeans, clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. You know, you didn't fall for the okie doke. You didn't fall for the bullshit. Americans in the United States fell for the bullshit, and we're paying the price for it right now, and hopefully we can fix it. But it's still going to be some time, because we got a Congress and we got a Senate that doesn't have any fucking nuts. They have no morals, no ethics. They have not impeached the man who is trying to destroy our fucking country. That is shameful. You know this man. You know deep down in like I believe this. I believe they all know. They all know this motherfucker has been compromised by Putin. They all know it. Why aren't they doing anything about it? Why aren't they doing anything about it? You know, so you know, there's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. You know, yeah, but at least the EU has gotten rid of the people that were involved with Epstein, taking their ass to jail, charging them of crimes, kicking their ass out of government, and kicking anyone else related to them out of government. Smart move. And they're saying, we ain't falling for your bullshit. We ain't joining you in this war either, Trump. We don't want to have nothing to do with you. Now, here we
initiate it. But we are all affected by it. So I think there's a clear call here that international law must be respected, and it should be the responsibility of the concerned parties to find ways of ending the hostilities that now have great impact around the world. We are concerned to see that there is still an escalation. There are still worries about how the world economy will be affected by the energy situation around the Gulf. For our part, you know, we will use any channel we have, any opportunity we have to urge the parties to find a way that will not escalate this war. I think that's what we can say. It is not our war. It seems to us that the plan for how it will develop is pretty unclear. And that's the danger with initiating wars, that they rarely follow a script. Prime Minister Fredriksson gave praise to the speech that Prime Minister Carney gave. Let me give praise to the way the Danish Prime Minister has stood up for some principles which are absolutely key. For Denmark, for the Kingdom of Denmark, for the people in Greenland, it's for them to decide on what happens in the Kingdom of Denmark. But what she has stood up for is much more than that. It is for basic principles of international law, national sovereignty, and territorial integrity, which is not simply language in school books. This is hardcore realities of how we preserve freedom, democracy, and we have stood by these principles because we are close to Denmark in this Nordic family, but also because it really matters to all of us. And I'd like to also to say that this is responding to threats which are unacceptable in general, but even more unacceptable among allies. But I would say what follows from this is also a great range of opportunities, which we have discussed around the table today. That our countries have things that we can do together, that we will do together, because it's really beneficial for our populations, for their work, for their income, for their security. And meetings like the one we've had today is really helping us to launch on that.
Yeah, and you know, I wish the United States had a leader like this. Someone,
And I have to say to
someone's whose citizens have access to healthcare, all of them. Someone whose citizens all have access to education. Someone whose citizens have access to housing. You see what I mean? They're not living on this fucking street in Norway. You see what I'm saying? You see what I mean? Like, really, I'm serious. You know, it's not a coincidence. It's called you give a fuck about your people. And for Trump to be an American, he's not a proud American. That's for damn sure. You know, because if he was a proud American, he would actually be doing things like proud Europeans do. You see what I mean? Like, seriously, he would be doing things. Pride looks a little bit different in Europe. You know, that's what I'm saying. And also not just Europe, South America, too. Pride looks different in a lot of places it looks different in Canada. It looks different in a lot of places on earth. You know what I mean? But when we talk about, you know, wealthy economies, you know, goddamn, there's no excuse for it to look the way it looks in the U.S. That's not pride. You see what I mean? That's actually hatred. You know, Trump behaves like he hates the United States of America, and it's coming sooner or later. Trump ain't going to be here. Clap your hands for that. He's going to be dead one day soon. Congratulations. I can't wait for that day, because people are going to piss on this man's grave. They're going to piss on his grave. And that's exactly right. And I would like to try it myself. And but in any case, let's hear more from the Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen.
you that you have a lot of supporters in all countries. The speech you gave in Davos, I have never experienced anything like this. I mean, people in Denmark, and I guess the same goes for the rest of the Nordic countries, have been talking about, they have been reading your speech. And I don't think I have ever heard so many reflections on a speech from a colleague as I have heard about your speech in Davos. And it is because you show
She's talking about Carney's speech, you know, the speech where he said we're moving into a different world situation, right? It's changed now. It's not a small little skirmish. This is it. Things are going to change. And it's because Trump has threatened security. He has threatened Western countries' security. Like, he has threatened NATO members' security, like in real life. That is exactly his primary motivation. If you ask me, my opinion, that is how he behaves, according to my opinion. That is the number one thing he does best, is threaten NATO members. So it's not going to continue, because he's going to be dead one day. And, by all means, Americans cannot allow anybody associated with Trump anywhere close to the government in any capacity. Military, they all have to go. They all have to go. Remember, if Elon Musk was in Europe, he'd be fired just for being in the Epstein files and having those emails with Jeffrey Epstein. It would be over. You see what I'm saying? And the United States is the only country that insists it must keep everyone that is in the Epstein files and give them fucking government jobs. You know, they're keeping the files secret. They are refusing their own law to release the files. That shows you how fucking desperate they are. It is real. Whatever is in those files is trouble for all those people that were mentioned in those files, especially Trump, especially Peter Thiel, especially Elon Musk, because it's not just about sex trafficking. It's about espionage too, right? It's multi-layered. It's about espionage. It's about blackmail, right? Sex trafficking, right? But it's also about the other dirty business things, the sharing of fucking information from government people. You know, they passed that information around and exploited the U.S. government. That's a fucking crime. You see what I'm saying? So, like, seriously, it's going to be a cleaning house in the U.S. And otherwise the country, you may as well pack your bags if it ain't going to be no cleaning house. Like, seriously, they mean harm. they mean the American people harm.
Leadership. You were talking about how democracies can work together and that we have to connect even closer in this world where the old world order is gone and it will probably not come back. So we have to build something new, and it has to be a world order that is built on the values that we represent, the leaders standing in front of you today. I am very grateful, I have to say this, for all the help we have received in the Kingdom of Denmark, Greenland and Denmark. We have had a totally unacceptable pressure from US and the US president. It has been very difficult for the people in Greenland to experience this. And one of the reasons why we have been able to stand firmly on very common values, that you have to respect sovereign states, that you have to respect a people's right for self-determination, is because of our good friends. In the Nordic countries, in Europe, but also with partners outside, especially you, Mark. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for that. Now we have to continue our work. We are deepening our cooperation in the Arctic region. It is important. We are deepening our cooperation also militarily in our own region, not only the Arctic, but also more locally in the northern part of Europe. It's going I think, in the right direction. But with everything going on now, with the war going on in Ukraine, US unfortunately lifting up sanctions on Russia, a war in Middle East.
Exactly. The United States, Trump lifted the sanctions on Russia. So you see, what he did was the Ukrainians fighting for themselves, because it hasn't been foreign troops on Ukraine soil. It's just been whatever is organized by the Ukrainians. They're military, and then they have this foreign legion, but it's not foreign troops, right? And the same for Russia. Russia has had North Koreans and shit, Chinese even. They've had others, certain African groups finding their way over there, getting their ass blown up. Because they're entering into a sovereign country trying to take the land, and at the end of the day, nobody in Ukraine gives a fuck what the Russian narrative is. Like, they're going to fucking kill you. Like, they're not playing any games about this. And a lot of people have found that out. Now, Ukrainians have taken a lot of losses, but they defended their country. And what does Trump do? He actually helps Putin by lifting the sanctions so they can make more money, so they could fund more war. You see? So, yeah. And this is right on the doorstep of the Nordic countries. You see what I mean? This is not far. Just for people to know, let me see here. Let me pull this up. It's not far from where I am. You see what I mean? I'm situated in Copenhagen myself. And although I'm an American citizen, I'm situated in Copenhagen, you see? Right here. And so if we zoom out, right? Let me see. Yeah, we zoom out a little bit. You see where I am? So I'm on the Baltic Sea right here, right? Right here on the Baltic Sea in Copenhagen. And you have to pass through Denmark from the Atlantic. If you come in, from the Atlantic, which is this area over here, once you get in here and you want to go up the Baltic Sea, you have to pass, everything passes Denmark. This is all Denmark here. Sjælland, right? Billund, Aarhus, Copenhagen, Helsingborg. You see, not Helsingborg, I'm sorry. Helsinki is on the other side of here. But when you zoom in, you can see, you can cross, you can come through here. These are the spots you can travel through. You can travel on any side of Sjælland, right? You can travel on any side of Fyn here, this island called Fyn, and you can come into the Baltic Isles. But if you zoom out even more, then you see this is Russia here. You can go right into St. Petersburg. You see what I mean? So Denmark is just on the other end, on the bottom side of the Baltic Isles, of the Baltic Sea, I'm sorry. And St. Petersburg is like at the top. You see what I mean? Well, Sweden also has their little entry, but St. Petersburg is located here. So this is a major, this country And these countries, they've been a big defense for the U.S. because that means they track everything that comes out of Russia from here. Everything they've been tracking. You see what I'm saying? So they help the U.S. defend themselves against Russia. Right. And Trump has fucked that all up now. You know, this is how one way where Russia can get its submarines out, St. Petersburg, into the water. The other way is, you know, in the north, if they can access it. You see what I mean? And then the other way is where Ukraine is located, right here. You see what I'm saying? So exactly right here, you know, on top of Georgia, they can access the Black Sea and then come through Turkey. So in all actuality, you know, Trump is just basically saying, fuck it, to hell with this thing about defending ourselves from Russia. And that's exactly what he said. Now, for people that don't know, you know, that's not wise because Russia has 150 million people, but they're the biggest geographical country on earth. And they're not sharing their wealth with the local population. You know, the money barely gets out. If you want to know how much Russian people get paid, you know, what the lifestyle of an average Russian is, I'm not talking about in Moscow, because Moscow, you have people there doing, you know, you have some that have more than others, right? But the reality is that there's a lot of fucking poverty in Russia, you know? So here you have it. That's the size of Russia. And so Russia is how many times bigger also? So they have a lot of natural resources, right, at their disposal. So, and oil is one of them. And and the sanctions helped Russia not be able to invade territory in the EU. You see what I mean? That's what that was about. So Trump said, fuck that, and fuck a NATO ally. And he also said that to, who else did he say that to? He said that to Canada, right? He said, fuck Canada. You know, we don't need you. But look, if you look here, I mean, if you just look at the map, you know, these submarines, who's going to be monitoring these submarines when they come here into the Pacific? Who's supposed to monitor that? Does the U.S. want to monitor that all by itself? Well, you can, but you can also cross through here and have Canada monitor it. If you are a decent neighbor. Also, what about China? You see what I mean? So Trump has essentially fucked the United States of America. And this could go really, really bad, because if there is a world war, people have to survive. And how do you survive with a president of the United States that's hostile towards its own allies? How's that possible? That's suicide. You can't survive with an American president that is hostile against its own allies. So the only defense in that is to stop working with the United States of America. Stop sharing intelligence information. Stop prioritizing trade deals with the United States of America. Stop stop doing anything with the U.S. and only work with people that respect you and want you to survive, right? And don't behave hostile to you. And what that means is, you know, now don't get me wrong. Think about this already. I can fly myself. I can fly from Denmark, right? If I want to, directly to Cuba. You know, you can't do that from the U.S. I don't believe you could actually do that from the U.S. That's going to be more difficult. But people, you know, they have some sort of relationship, Denmark with Cuba, and with certain things. Like you could still get Cuban cigars in Denmark. You know, you can get Cuban rum in Denmark. You know, you can get goods from Cuba here, you know, and so Denmark has never had this kind of embargo with Cuba and things like that. So, but what it means for everybody else is Denmark and the EU, they're going to be working with South America. They're going to be working with Canada. You know, they're going to be working with Africa. They're going to be working with each other. They're going to be working with Asia also. And Canada is going to be a big part of them working with Asia. Watch. It's going to be a big part. I guarantee you, you know. So in any case, Trump has fucked people. Now let's go back to the legacy media. And by the way, let me know if you're in the chat. Let me know what state you live in and who your healthcare provider is if you're in the chat. All right, so let's go on here. Let's continue. Oops, what's this? What happened? Come on.
Atlantic. It has the headline, "The Obvious is Taking Its Revenge on Trump." And you write, in part, this: when past presidents balked at the possibility of war with Iran, they weren't just dodging a hard choice. They were deterred by all of the obvious reasons a conflict could perilously spiral. Nobody should be shocked that the expected is now coming to pass. The lesson that the Trump administration seemed to learn from the failed planning for post-war Iraq is that planning isn't worth the effort at all. By trumpeting unachievable objectives, unconditional surrender, regime change, as his war aims, Trump has given his enemies the opportunity to claim survival as victory. Trump ignored the obvious and went to war. Now the obvious is seeking its revenge. And Frank, part of this is we had reporting over the weekend that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff warned the president that Iran may try to close the Strait of Hormuz. Trump knew that, went with it anyway, believed Iran would falter in those efforts. At least to this point, they have not. That's part of complicating this. But also, as you write, as Joe and I were just discussing, this regime is still there. This is a very difficult war for Trump to actually win.
Right. And the regime that is still there is fighting for its very survival, as you just described. And in its quest to survive, it's willing to do essentially everything. It has this one incredible piece of leverage over the Trump administration of the United States, which is the Strait of Hormuz, where they've been girding for this sort of confrontation for some time. They've created all sorts of underground bunkers, unmanned boats that can cause damage for the long term. And so it's put him in this quandary where he has to take even more extreme steps in order to open up the straits, because they understand that his great point of vulnerability is the economy and that he's moved by the stock market. And so they're able to do that. And then we've seen the way in which they've been able to expand the war by opening up this front with its access of resistance in Lebanon, that we see it spreading to Iraq, where Iranian-based militias in Iraq have been trying to possibly foment the beginnings of a civil war there. And no problem has been studied like war against Iran. This is something that the military think tanks have been pondering forever. And they've been able to predict all this from, decades back.
Right. It's hard to really imagine what victory would look like. And I don't think things are obviously as simple as the defense secretary puts it. Death and destruction. We blow them up. We sink their battleship. There's a lot of complications here and a lot of consequences to what has happened. But what would victory at this point look like?
Well, I think that needs to be set out by the president clearly. I think he needs to address it to the American people. I think there need to be, I know he improvises, and that worked in Venezuela, and that's worked in other places for him. It's not going to work so effectively here. But it seems to me there are three things that they have to do. The first...
He said he has to improvise. Trump is fucked. And he's fucked. No one believes. See, this is what it is. Appearance matters. And what people think matters, regardless if you believe what they think. And that's the consequence of, of how it is living in the world. And it just so happens that these people believe that Trump is compromised by Putin. Yes. And they believe Putin is in cahoots with China, maneuvering to get power, to gain more influence. Very simple. So they're at war with Russia. There's already hybrid war going on. Russia has already come into their territories and done sabotage over and over and over. Started fires, cut communications cables, sent drones in, over in different situations. So they're on more alert about Russia than they have been, generally, right? But the U.S. has always known this. This is what Russia has been doing for years. You don't know if they've been doing it in the United States too, and I suspect that they have. Like I've always said, that boat that hit that Baltimore bridge and knocked that Baltimore bridge down. When was the last time you heard a story about that? You know, they just said that the boat lost power. And if you watch the videotape, the boat goes under the bridge, the power goes off, then the power turns on and the boat starts turning and going backwards, and it went right directly back into the pylon. It could go backwards a lot of ways, but to steer into the pylon and knock down the bridge is hella suspicious. Hella suspicious. And that's what hybrid attacks are. They're made to look like accidents. They're made to look like, you know, anything. They've attacked electrical grids at one airport, I believe they did. You see what I mean? I believe that might have been in the UK. They poisoned people. I mean, you know, but in any case, let's hear some more.
Thing is, they've got to seriously degrade and put back 3 to 5 years Iran's nuclear capability, its missile capability. That means destroying the launch pads and destroying everything that's going to cause threats to, you know, regional allies, Israel and Arab states alike. And they've got to set it back. They've got to also, secondly, obviously, guarantee that the straits are going to be opened. That's a serious challenge, but it's something that has to be done before we come home. So that's number 2. And number 3, you've got to make a deal. You've got to make a deal with somebody in Iran, and it will not be an unconditional surrender. It will be a conditional surrender, and whatever those conditions are need to be laid out. And some leadership in Iran has to be told, you will be able to survive in a new form, not the past form, a new form. And
what the hell is he talking about? He's acting like the United States is in a position to dictate what Iran does at this point. The U.S. is in this by itself. And when you are in this by itself and you are not going to invade the country with groups on the ground, you can dictate no terms. That's what it is. So if you weren't going to invade on the ground, why would you go into this? That's so stupid. You see what I mean? So, yeah. And it's not the first time that they've been bombed this year, you know, or in the last year. You see what I mean? So, sometimes I just wonder what's up with him. But in any case, that is legacy media news. So in any case, let's go on. This shit is crazy, man. He's like talking about unconditional surrender or conditional surrender, and like, what the fuck is he talking about? He's making it sound like we're controlling something. You know, these people hate us at this point. Their whole thing is to show you that they will not bow down. They are insulted. And when you insult the people and they know that the world hates you, like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? They're going to take advantage of that. This is the first opportunity. See, Trump being a numbskull has given them the perfect opportunity. See, they couldn't do that with a competent U.S. president because a competent U.S. president wouldn't get himself in this fucking situation. You see what I mean? Whether he likes Iran or not, he wouldn't fall for it so easily. Trump just fucking fell for it. Trump was like, yeah, man. He talked all this shit. He attacked his allies, and now he's asking his allies to come and help. Man, somebody should smack Trump. You know? Like, Trump talked a lot of shit. Trump talked a lot of shit, boy. Like, wow, you know, he did way too much. And then look at this fool. He's going to talk right here. Look at this shit right here. Oh my God. Here we got to listen to that dumbass music. Here we go. Blah, 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 blah. La, 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 la. Hold on. Come on, Trump. Get your fucking wobbly ass. Look, he can barely walk. Hold on. Let me see. Let me pull it back a little. I mean, he's still moving around. Damn. They probably injected his ankles with some shit. You know, I'm pretty sure of it. But hold on. Let's see. They injected him with some codeine, painkillers. So whatever is down there is not hurting, you know, obviously. Here we go. Here we go. Now, these are Mike Johnson. No ethics, no morals whatsoever. He would probably sell his own mother to Epstein had he been given an offer. You know what I'm saying? But this is who surround Trump, you know. Spineless ass MAGA Mike Johnson. And they're there to pretend like this is a good situation for Trump. Like, Trump's in charge. Yeah, man. Trump, man, you pathetic, bro. You are pathetic.
Right, Mr. Kraft? No place like the White House. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. And we'll maybe discuss a couple of...
Trump, whenever he starts off talking gracious, it's like because he knows he's fucked up. So now he wants to be the nice guy a little bit. But then he's going to lose his mind halfway, and you know, like a true narcissist. And, you know, if people don't kiss his ass, he's going to go ballistic.
Topics. This is a board meeting for the Trump Kennedy Center, but we'll go into a couple of other things that we have the media present. It's always present, unfortunately, constantly. And I'll say a few words about what's happening in the Middle East. And if you have a couple of questions, we'll do that, and then we'll get on with our board meeting. So thank you very much for being here. We have a wonderful group of very, very smart.
James Callan. James, what's up, James? Yeah, Trump says that he says when he asks for help, no other country comes to help, but America has helped every other country. Make that make sense? Man, this guy just totally forgot 9/11. 9/11 happened in New York, not far from Trump Tower. And this motherfucker has forgotten that the United States invoked Article 5 and every ally came to fight, sent troops. Denmark lost more troops than the U.S. in that battle. I believe a couple other countries did too. You see what I mean? Maybe Canada. I don't know. But I know Denmark by percentage, little Denmark by percentage lost more people to in that, you know, coming to the United States aid. And this guy want to talk that way. That's why I'm so happy I'm an American citizen living in Denmark, because I make it my duty to tell this motherfucker every day, man, fuck you, Donald J. Trump. And to tell Danes, yo, fuck this guy. You came to our aid. We have to honor that. You know what I'm saying? A real American would honor that, and through respectful terms, respectful words. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it, we're allies for real. This is not a joke. You see what I mean? This is not a joke. You know, and you know, I could go on with that, but this guy definitely, the way he talked about Denmark is un-American. It is un-American. Every American, I know a lot of Americans in Denmark, man, we're begging our country, the United States, to learn something from Denmark one fucking day, especially when it comes to elder care, health care, and education, and also a fair wage when you go to work. Please, we're begging you, Trump, can you please learn from Denmark a little fucking bit? Can you please do that? Every American in Denmark knows that about Denmark. So we all respect Denmark for that. We all respect Denmark for that. We also respect Danes for treating us like we at home, for making us welcome. You see? So Danes are our allies and have treated us like we are their allies. You know, and they've come to our, you know, call when we asked, and then this motherfucker goes and disrespects it. Fuck you, Trump. You know what I mean? And I'm so happy to see Denmark understand that. You don't have to take that shit. You don't have to take that shit from this piece of shit. Don't ever forget, this guy's best friend was fucking little girls. There can be no more pathetic of a man, you see what I mean, than this guy's best hangout partner. That's how raunchy and disgusting he is. He's a adjudicated sexual assaulter. I mean, he's talking about grab them by the vaginas. That's what he said, grab them by the pussy. You see what I mean? They like that. That's basically what he said. Man, so you ain't got to explain shit with Trump. Anybody that, and MAGA Mike Johnson is sitting right next to him. That's how disgusting MAGA Mike Johnson is. And this goddamn rotten ass lady. What type of lady would sit next to Trump? Come on. That ain't no lady, yo. That ain't no lady. Like, straight up. That ain't no lady.
Talented patriots at this table. Our powerful military
Patriots.
campaign to end the threats
got the
posed
wrong
by
word.
the Iranian regime.
Look, he said patriots. No, he means pedophile protectors. Treason protectors. They are protecting treasonous who got caught up in honeypot schemes and sold out the United States of fucking America to Vladimir Putin. These people are low, man. They are not patriots at all.
Continued in full force over the past few days. They have been literally obliterated. The Air Force is gone. The Navy is gone. Many ships have been sunk. They're warfighting ships.
Look how stiff MAGA Mike Johnson's face is. I should just blow that up because that's how fake he is. MAGA Mike Johnson is fake as hell. And just look how he holds his face the whole time Trump is fucking talking. Look, he doesn't even winch. That's how stiff-lipped his ass is, you know. He can hold his face in the middle of any type of lie. You could go from like, you know, well, we just got finished eating little babies yesterday to now we headed to Pinocchio's Island, and his face will be the same.
Look, about what's happening in the Middle East, and if you have a couple of questions, we'll do that, and then we'll get on with our board meeting. So, thank you very much for being here. We have a wonderful group of very smart, talented patriots at this table. Our powerful military camp.
Oh, wait a second. He can barely hold his face. I'm sorry. Look at this. Look at his eyes when he said that. We have a very, who says talented group of patriots? Who the fuck even says things like that? But
so
look at his eyes.
Thank you very much for being here. We have a wonderful group of very smart, talented patriots at this table.
Look at his face.
Powerful military campaign to end the threats posed by the Iranian regime continued in full force over the past few days. They have been literally...
Look, he's just out there lying. MAGA Mike Johnson knows damn well this man is lying. Look at his face. He can't contain it anymore. MAGA Mike Johnson, man, you used to do better than this.
We'll do that, and then we'll get on with our board meeting. So, thank you very much for being here. We have a wonderful group of very smart, talented patriots at this table. Our powerful military campaign to end the threats posed by the Iranian regime continued in full force over the past few days. They have been literally obliterated. The Air Force is gone.
Look,
the Navy.
So what the fuck do you need help with? If they've been obliterated, why do you need help?
Is gone. Many ships have been sunk. They're warfighting ships, but I guess they didn't know how to use them. And anti-aircraft is decimated. Their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. Other than that, they're doing quite well.
So why do you need other people's help? Why is he out there asking for help, soliciting from help like a panhandler and shit?
They've been a terror for 47 years, and now I guess the world through the United States.
His speech is starting to slip now. This is like 2 minutes in. See, my speech, it gets sharper the longer I speak. His shit starts failing, you know?
Israel.
Did you hear him slur that?
Quite well. They've been a terror for 47 years.
No.
And anti-aircraft is decimated. Their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. Other than that, they're doing quite well. They've been a terror for 47 years. And now
Yo, somebody said, what is his lying? Who said this shit? Who said this? Oh, yeah. This is horrible, Dip. What is Trump's number on lying now? 100,000? No, it's 1 million, yo. It's 5 million. Trump lies every time he opens his lips, period. That's the first person you could say that is literally not, that's not. When somebody say Trump lies every time he's moving his lips, it's not an exaggeration. It's real.
I guess the world through the United States.
He forgets the news he forgets everyone's watching him and checking him. He talks like he's in a private business meeting where you're about to give him $1 billion and nobody knows. He can just lie for 5 minutes and then get his money and get on his way.
With the help of Israel, is doing what should have been done many years ago. Should have been done many years ago. Since the beginning of the conflict, we've struck more than 7,000 targets across Iran.
Oh, he's going into his bragging phase now, right?
And these have been mostly commercial and military targets. We've achieved a 90% reduction in their ballistic missile launches and a 95% reduction in drone attacks. The missiles are trickling in now at very low levels because they don't have too many missiles left.
Look, he's banking on that. So if they don't have too many missiles left, what you waiting for? Get in there and start escorting those ships. Get busy, And I would really like to know, like, how freely is the U.S. military traveling through the Straits of Hormuz? Like, are they there, or are they just bombing from the outside of Oman or something like that, or bombing? Yeah, I think that's where they're a carrier. Let me find that out. But in any case, it doesn't seem like he understands that communication is better than it's ever been on earth. People can send messages. People know what's going on more than ever now. So at least it has a chance of getting out in the media, But yeah, he's just going to lie.
We've also attacked the manufacturing plants, the places where they manufacture the missiles and the drones. And that's going on today. We just hit 3 of them today. And it's getting very hard.
He sounds the same no matter what he's describing. You know what I mean? It could almost be like he's not even talking about the war, but the tone sounds exactly like he talks about everything. It's crazy, man.
Hard for them to manufacture.
Boring.
More than 100 Iranian naval vessels.
He's hoping that they're out of missiles. That's why he says that. But if they're out of missiles, then why aren't you escorting these ships if they're out of missiles? You see what I mean? It only takes a person with a brain. It doesn't even have to be that sharp for you to realize the dude is lying. That's the problem, man. His lies, he doesn't go far with his lies. He does like a child lie, a lie that is a lie. That's Trump. Simpleton lies
have been sunk or destroyed over the last week and a half. That has to be some kind of a record. Additional strikes.
Yeah, Legacy Media, exactly. Joe Mall and the media restricted it and report. Yeah, Legacy Media is doing a poor job. If you want to know, today podcasting is about to take over. It's about to take over It is really because when you can let the Legacy Media do, like, what do you call it? The grunt work. But then you can use their media to break down shit even deeper. You know what I mean? Add your own commentary to it. And then and information, the information that they leave out, the Legacy Media, you can now compile all this shit together and you get a better idea and understanding of what's going on. And I don't think they have really anticipated that, but cable news is going out. Cable news is about to be done, man. It's about to be done.
Continue to launch from all directions every single hour. As you know, we attacked Carg Island and knocked it literally, destroyed everything on the island except for the area where the oil is. I call it the pipes. We left the pipes. We didn't want to do that, but we will do that. We can do that on 5 minutes notice. It'll be over. But for purposes of someday rebuilding that country, I guess we did the right thing. but it may not seem.
Yo, somebody said, look, he said, someone said, Ellen said, I read a report that said strategic stockpiles of rare earth minerals is running low, and they need those to build missiles they've been sending to Ukraine. Well, I read a report too, and it said that the tariffs is what's behind it. Did you know they have to pay more for shit when you have tariffs on it, and the taxpayer has to pay more? But also, maybe people don't want to even deal with the U.S. when you have a hostile president. You see what I mean? And, the rare earth minerals are out there. But when you go to Greenland and you say, I want to take your minerals, you see what I mean? That doesn't help. You see what I mean? Diplomacy does have an effect on the outcome. You see what I mean? But also strategic planning. I mean, if you know that if he had this report and he read it and the report says we're running out of rare earth to make missiles because we used all our missiles in Ukraine. Well, then why did you go to war with Iran? Why did you do that? Why didn't you take the advice of other people that said you don't have to go to war with Iran? How about that for a change? You know what I'm saying? And this administration, and I'm sorry, but I don't know if it's just me, but people get inundated by the disinformation and start speaking it without even realizing that they're speaking the disinformation. Again, shit that doesn't make sense. Shit that anyone can pick apart. You see what I mean? Why didn't they have a problem bombing the year before with Biden, if that's the case? And the year before that with Obama, and the year before that. You see what I mean? The U.S., we don't have an excuse for not having what we need. We can get anything we want if we treat people fine. Ukraine, number one, has a lot of rare earth minerals. Why didn't we protect them then? If we want rare earth minerals, then why didn't we take it as a priority? You see what I mean? Why don't we respect the fact that Ukrainians were fighting for their country? Why don't we respect the fact that they have a country with borders and you can't just invade people? See, if you care about rare earth minerals, then why don't you care about colonization? Why don't you know that that's bad too? Why don't you know that invading people's countries is also bad if you're worried about rare earth minerals? You see what I mean? So, but I'm pretty sure any reason why the U.S., the richest country on earth, most powerful country on earth, still, I'm pretty sure if you have any problem, it's because of how you manage shit. Like, let's keep in mind, you're not just missing rare earth minerals to make bombs. You're missing motherfucking healthcare, and you paying more for it. So no, duh. You're missing goddamn education and you're paying more for it. No wonder you don't have motherfucking missiles. You don't have enough missiles. You can't fucking count. You see what I mean? You can't do anything right. You see? So, you can't blame this on anybody else but your own poor leadership and your own brains. It's not that you're missing anything else. It's that you just fucking don't know how to do it. That's what it is. You never know how to do it for your own fucking people. That's really what it is. Everyone else said, yeah, we might need minerals to make these bombs. So that made them say, maybe we shouldn't go into Iran and invade. But nah, numbskull ass United States of America with their numbskull ass president said, we missing bombs. What does that mean we should do it? We should invade Iran. Let's bomb Iran. We're missing bombs. Come on now. Come on. Something's not sounding right. So, yeah. I think the real problem is Trump. I didn't hear nothing about rare earth minerals being missing before Trump came into office or anything else.
Stay that way. Just one simple word and the pipes will be gone too, but it'll take a long time to rebuild that. We are aggressively dismantling Iran's defense industrial base and ability to rebuild its missiles and drone capability is getting down to close to zero. And we're hammering their capacity to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz with more than 30 mine-laying ships destroyed. We hit, to the best of our knowledge, all of their mine-laying ships. Now they can put them on other types of ships, I guess, and drop them in. But we don't know that any have even been dropped in. We're not sure that any have been.
I don't know if BB is dead, but I know one thing for sure. I haven't seen a lot of public images of him, and it's kind of interesting because the same thing they say about the Ayatollah is people should ask the same questions. Like Trump says that the Ayatollah's been injured, that's why he's not on camera, that's why you don't see him. Well, have people seen BB Netanyahu on camera lately? I'm not sure. Have you seen him on camera? I'm not sure. I'm gonna take a look.
That's a big negative for them if they do.
Any case, we can't listen to this dumb shit. We got to hear questions. So let's go.
But you really did a great job, Rick, on this, and we appreciate it. I'm looking for the
blah, 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 blah. Come on.
Fully financed.
Oops.
Music producer.
Oh, shit. Okay, let's see. I'm just curious about what Trump is going to do, is going to answer when he gets to these questions. Hold on. Let's see here. 2 seconds. Come on, Trump. Let's get it going, man.
February after a one-year review based on input from highly respected experts and subject to board approval today.
Man, he is still... Here we go. I think it's here.
It wasn't working, but I just want to thank everybody.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he wants to thank people. Trump's being gracious today. Yeah, that means he needs help. Like most assholes, all of a sudden they get nice as soon as they need help.
Week of this bombing campaign.
All right, here we go. Finally.
Great to have you. Thank you.
Mr. President, honored.
That's great. Both of you. Thank you very much. So go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, you've said that Iran does want to make a deal. Now, into the third week of this bombing campaign, what would that deal look like? What are the asks that you're making of the government?
They want to make a deal. They're talking to our people. I don't know if they say that to you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Don't forget, they are a country that for years, I didn't know this until recently, they're a country based on disinformation. And now they're using disinformation plus AI. And that's a terrible situation. That's a terrible situation. They showed all sorts of things happening in the last 2 weeks that never happened. Between their kamikaze boats that don't exist, between blowing up the aircraft carrier, one of the great ships in the world, the Abraham Lincoln, on fire. They showed it on fire. I called the general. I said, General, what's with the Abraham Lincoln? It looks like it's burning down. No, it's not burning down. Not a bullet was ever fired at it, sir. They know better. I said, this is my first glimpse of AI and what they've done with it. They showed buildings in Tel Aviv burning to the ground, high-rises burning. They showed buildings in Qatar. They showed buildings in Saudi Arabia burning, and they weren't burning. They weren't hit. It was all AI-based. Terrible. It's terrible. And that's their only, I think that's the only thing they do well. They're negotiating, and we always talk. They showed buildings in with the Abraham Lincoln. It looks like it's burning down. No, it's not burning down. Recently, they're a country based on disinformation, and now they're using disinformation plus AI, and that's a terrible situation. That's a terrible situation. They showed all sorts of things happening in the last 2 weeks that never happened. Between their kamikaze boats that don't
Trump is crazy.
Don't exist, between blowing up the aircraft carrier, one of the.
So the guy that uses AI and spreads disinformation on his own, on his own True Social White House thing, constantly, day after day, he's saying Iran is such a shame. Iran is doing this, spreading disinformation and using AI now. It's almost like a self-confessional, yo. Like, seriously, look at this. He may as well be in there talking to the priest and shit.
In the room, tremendous. And we appreciate you being here.
Let me hear this bullshit again.
Thank you.
Mr. President. Honored.
That's great. Both of you, thank you very much. So go ahead, please.
Mr. President, you've said that Iran does want to make a deal. Now, into the third week of this bombing campaign, what would that deal look like? What are the ask that you're making of the
They
government?
want to make a deal. They're talking to our people. I don't know if they say that to you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Don't forget, they are a...
He says, I don't know if they're talking to you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. What kind of fucking answer is that? Is he trying to say it's possible that they don't want to make a deal? What the hell is he talking about?
Country that for years...
What would that deal look like? What are the ask that you're making of the
They
government?
want to make a deal. They're talking to our people. I don't know if they say that to you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Don't forget, they are a country that for years, I didn't know this until recently, they're a country based on disinformation. And now they're using disinformation plus AI. And that's a terrible situation.
So everyone criticized. People already know that there's nations that use disinformation, but Trump didn't know it, because when you know it, you don't spread it on your own page then. You see what I mean? So Trump himself uses it. There's a reason why you're not supposed to use AI shit on your own page and spread it around to people. There's a reason why you're not supposed to spread disinformation around. Why? Because you're stooping to the same level as a lot of despot ass countries, like countries with despot administrations. Like seriously, that's you can't beat them by becoming them. You can't do that. And I'm not talking about Iran specifically, but I mean, come on, you know damn well Russia is the king of disinformation. They have people feeling sorry for their ass while they got motherfuckers locked up in the gulag. You know what I'm saying? For nothing, basically. Just throw them in the gulag. Let them do some work. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Situation.
Trump is, I've gotten to the point now where I stopped blaming Trump. Trump is just being himself. You know, of course, he's blackmailed and all of that, but he's just being himself. I blame the Congress and the Senate and the Supreme Court. That's who the American people trusted to make sure that we have laws, you know what I mean? And that the rule of law governs, you know, and Trump, and they just, all the corruption and all of that, they gave a pass to Trump the entire way. They helped Trump. They literally helped Trump even to become president when they knew damn well he's a goddamn criminal. You know, I'm sorry, but there's something very sinister going on in the United States of America. I mean, you know, these people they watch the news, you know, they knew they had to know of Trump's relationship with Epstein. You know, Supreme Court people had to know something. Come on. If anyone knows about crime and people and anything, anyone that's been investigated of anything, if there's anyone that knows it, it's the police and the judges. You know what I mean? And they speak privately together and spread and share information. Come on. That is how it works. You see what I mean? And so there's no way that these people didn't have some sort of idea of what Trump has been up to, not only just with Epstein, but others, especially the felonies and, you know, things like this. But they just allowed this guy. They allowed him to basically run amok and protect him. The guy had an insurrection that he ordered himself on tape, on camera. And the Supreme Court, I mean, the Congress and the Senate gave him a pass. So this is the first president. I mean, it's not the first that's gotten away with something, but this is not getting away with something. This is getting away with selling out the American people and the country. This is serious. This is not a small little endeavor. You know what I mean? This is horrifying. Everything about Trump is horrifying. He is the ass crack of the United States of America. That is what Trump is. He is the shit stain on the underwear of the United States of America. Like, seriously, that is what Trump is. He's showing the worst side The worst side. The worst side. I mean, damn, we have crime in the U.S. We have crime. Every place got crime, but this motherfucker is a part. He is a part of some of the worst crimes himself, and it's not one crime. He's around it. You know what I mean? He has surrounded himself with criminals of the worst type. Can you imagine if you saw a news report that said, V Media locked up for sex trafficking? Part of European sex trafficking gang. Can you imagine if you saw a headline like that? Can you imagine that? That's a horrible fucking thing to be associated with. That is horrible. You see can you imagine if they said V Media, 34 felons and shit, felony charges. V Media, commits, I don't know what else can they say? Embezzles billions of $100 million from, this guy, all of his associates are bad and all the crimes are very, very bad that he's been alleged to have committed. Yeah, it's bad.
A terrible.
He's accused of having a baby thrown into the lake. He is accused by one of the sex traffickers of throwing a baby their baby thrown into a lake.
Situation. They showed all sorts of things happening in the last.
Do me a favor, click the like button, yo.
Last 2 weeks that never happened. Between their kamikaze boats that don't exist, between blowing up the aircraft carrier, one of the great ships in the world, the Abraham Lincoln, on fire.
Okay. So he's admitting that they blew that up? Do you hear that? The news cycle earlier said that it was a kitchen fire. Do you guys remember that? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that. I still thought it was a kitchen fire until this motherfucker just said so. Oh my goodness. Let me play that back.
Happening in the last 2 weeks that never happened. Between their kamikaze boats that don't exist, between blowing up the.
Oh, so he's saying it's disinformation that they blew up the Abraham Lincoln. I get it. Okay, sorry about that.
Aircraft carrier, one of the great ships in the world,
But is he saying it's true or fake?
Abraham Lincoln on fire. They showed it on fire.
Okay, so it wasn't on. He's saying that was AI, and it's hard to read Trump's. I'm inclined to lean to believe that they did hit it. Whenever I hear Trump go in the opposite direction, but let me let it play. I'm gonna look it up.
Called the general. I said, General, what's with the Abraham Lincoln? It looks like it's burning down. No, it's not burning down. Not a bullet was ever fired at it, sir. They know better. I said, this is my first glimpse of AI and what they've done with it. They showed buildings in Tel Aviv burning to the ground, high rises burning. They showed buildings in Qatar. They showed buildings in Saudi Arabia burning, and they weren't burning. They weren't hit. It was all AI based. Terrible. It's terrible. And that's their only, I think that's the only.
This is reminding me of what Trump does with everything. With the economic reports, he delays them. Then he keeps saying how good it is and things like that. And don't worry, it'll be better. But he won't show you, and then when you get it, you find out it's bad. It sounds like one of those things, like something's happened bad and he and he's just not able to, to confront that. You see what I mean? So he's just going to lie to people. But they said it wasn't hit. Let me see here. It says there have been 2 major incidents where the Abraham Lincoln was reportedly targeted, leading to a significant misinformation online. March 24, the Operation Epic Fury, Iran state media, and the IRGC recently claimed early March 26 that they struck the U.S. Abraham Lincoln with the ballistic missiles and drones in the Sea of Oman. U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, officially denied this, stating that missiles didn't. Well, I'm gonna be honest. Whatever about this, I've seen airplane fall out of the sky. I don't. There's been multiple planes to hit the ground, and they say that they weren't hit or that it doesn't have anything to do with signal jamming or Iranian interference. Something like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think something is going on. And yeah, and of course, maybe they're good at deflecting what it is. Who knows? I mean, first of all, everybody knows I'm not an expert. That's the good part. So I'm not claiming to be an expert, but the preponderance of evidence, come on, look. I mean, we saw this. Is he trying to say that this airplane fell out of the sky? Let me see something. Were there reports of airplanes crashing that are USA? Okay, let me see here. Let me just double check that. Let me see. Okay, there's confirmed reports of military aircraft crashing recently, specifically during the ongoing conflict with Iran. While Iran proxy groups have claimed they shot down these planes, the U.S. Pentagon and CENTCOM have officially stated that the most recent significant crash was an accident, not caused by enemy fire. Right? Okay, major incident. Do you believe these reports right now? I don't, because I don't believe that the U.S. military. I believe it's basically controlled by Hexet and things like that come out to the public. Hexet has no problem with lying. Period. So, major incident. The KC-135 Stratotanker crashed March 12th. Right. Okay. Aircraft. Okay. Let me see. 6 casualties. Okay. And the cause, they say, reported that it involved a midair incident with a second. Okay. So it's 2 tankers in the air flying around, and they had a mid-air incident. That's what they say. Okay. Then there's the F-15 fighter jets. Early in the conflict, 3 F-15s were lost over Kuwait. However, the U.S. military reported these were the result of friendly fire incidents. 3? 3? 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes, 3. Okay, unmanned drones. Several reports of U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drones being intercepted or crashing in the region. Some of intercepted or crashing. Right. I mean, yeah. So I don't believe Trump. That's all I got to say about it. I don't believe him.
The only thing they do well.
I mean, that's a lot of incidents. What's the likeliness of some of them not being true? You know what I'm saying? It's pretty likely.
Negotiating.
All right, so let me see here. Scamming ass, lying ass Trump is going to continue. So let's continue ourselves. We ain't got all day. We ain't got all day with Trump because he's going to just keep talking his shit. And no matter what, we're going to be deceived if we listen to too much. So let me see. Let's see what's
Trump
going on.
for asking American allies for help in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's foreign minister said of the U.S., quote, they carried out large-scale attacks and again repeated the demand for unconditional surrender. Today, they are turning to other countries for help. He also argued the Strait of Hormuz is, quote, only closed to our enemies. Joining us now to discuss this and more is former Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. Thanks for coming on, Congresswoman. So we all know you were a longtime loyal supporter of President Trump, but you broke with him in part because you felt he was too focused on foreign affairs rather than the America First promises he made on the campaign trail. As we enter day 17 of the Iran war,
oh, right. Somebody, Jess said, did I hear about the reduced cost of renouncing citizenship for U.S. citizens, like $2K to $480? Yeah, I heard about that, but I mean, I don't have any. Listen, I mean, I don't have any desire to give up my citizenship. I mean, but there are maybe some people who will, and there's also some technicalities that go along with it. Like, you could, if you live abroad long enough, you might lose some. You may not get all the rights of the place you live in. Not every place accepts dual citizenship, but Denmark and the U.S., they have a treaty together where they do. So there's no hindrance. I could become a Danish citizen and I wouldn't be forced to give up my American citizenship. But and of course my kids are dual citizens also. But there are some countries where they don't have dual citizenship at all. So, Yeah, and in those places, there might be some Americans that want to, and there's also some Americans that are just like, fuck this, But where are you going to? What's your citizenship? Like, do you have another? That's my question. I don't have another, so yeah.
If the president's voters can trust him.
Well, just to be clear, the president broke with me over the Epstein files. So that always has to be said. He called me a traitor because I stood with women who were raped when they were 14 and 16. But I do completely disagree where the president has led the country. You know what? It makes absolutely no sense, Pamela, going into midterm elections. Let's remove Donald Trump out of it. Let's just put any president in there. Why would an American president lead his political party into the midterms, waging a full-scale major war, completely unprovoked on Iran, on behalf of Israel? And that's the way most Americans see it. They see this is for Israel, not for America. Why would an American president do that, which is forcing gas prices to hike right here going into spring break, where families are going to be driving out of town, going into...
Yeah, why would he do something that helps Putin? Why would he do that?
Summer, declaring and waging a major full-scale war that seems to have no end in sight, that is not de-escalating, it's escalating every single day.
Look, he's even hurting U.S. corporations. Like, when he launched that war, he hurt U.S. corporations that are operating the oil fields. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, they're splitting the money with a lot of these countries just because it's their equipment. You know what I mean? They're operating it. And Trump just fucked all that up. It's not just the oil, but it's the money too attached to the oil. Trump has fucked it all up, Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense. And the American people did not vote for this. This is not what we campaigned for, Pamela. I went to, I can't even tell you, countless rallies all over the country for President Trump, campaigning for him and Republicans because we wanted to win. And we said on every single rally stage, no more foreign wars, no more regime change. It's time to put America first. And this is a complete betrayal of those campaign promises.
So is that what you're hearing on the ground in Georgia, where obviously there are a lot of Trump supporters where you are? Are you hearing from them that they believe President Trump is doing this on behalf of Israel? Bring us there.
It's actually very split, and it's split along generational lines. Many of the older Americans from the baby boomer generation that watch Fox News all day long very much believe the talking points on Fox News, and they've spent decades of their lives convinced that fighting these wars is the right thing to do. But the younger generations, I'm Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z are very much against this war. And so when you talk to people on the ground, that's how it comes across. It's very generational, and the younger generations are completely against it. We want world peace. We want good trade. We want a great economy. We want to lower inflation, lower the cost of housing. And
these oil people, they gave money to Trump too, and so again, it just makes you wonder, like, I mean, I'm not guessing anymore though. The wondering's not that deep, but I do wonder why they don't stand up to Trump. You see what I mean? Like, the business people in the United States of America, sorry, they ain't standing up for Trump, man. They're not standing up, and it's not enough. And maybe it's because they're also in on this little thing, that they feel like they're in trouble, so they don't want a fair administration to come into power, because a fair administration would hold these people accountable, even the oil people. Maybe it's that. You see what I mean? The oil people tend to lean right wing traditionally in the U.S. Our country took a back seat. We chose to pass on green energy as a country. We told to pass on it. We said, you know what? This is not like the new. We don't need solar panels. You know what I mean? Fuck solar panels. Fuck all that woke shit. Fuck all that woke shit. Fuck EVs. We don't want that. You can have them, but it's not. We don't need clean air. Fuck clean air. That's what they said. That's what Trump's whole administration is about. Fuck clean air, fuck women's rights, fuck education, fuck healthcare, all of that shit that is woke. They're totally against. Fuck a fair wage at work. fuck raising the minimum wage in my red state. Fuck all that.
And younger generations want to be able to afford their American lives, and they don't want their taxpayer dollars shipped off to, and you can fill in any foreign country. We'll take Israel out of it. They don't want their money sent overseas. And you know what? They're right for saying this. This is absolutely absurd, and it's 100% a betrayal to what MAGA was supposed to be when we voted in 2024, and it's turned into some perverted, deranged.
You know, they're trying to save face. It's always been perverted and deranged. What the fuck is she talking about? These people always been, look, they've always been against healthcare. They've always been against education. They have always been against the equal wage. They have always been against all these things. What the hell? It's just that it's on steroids now. That's the problem. Now it went to steroid. Instead of just being against all those things, they decided, nah, fuck this. That's not enough. We're going to fucking have an insurrection. You know? But they've always been weird. They've always been about this dumb shit, you know? And she's acting like it was supposed to be about something else.
They're right for saying this. This is absolutely absurd, and it's 100% a betrayal.
Nah, what happened is the right wing is what you're seeing. They really do have Hitler-ass people that don't give a fuck about anybody. Look, that is really what's going on. They have the right wing is treasonous. You know, they are racist. Largely bigots of many types. They're many types. They're so fake that they got themselves in a corner where it's like they're they're homophobes, but they prefer the down low technique. They prefer their men that are married prefer to go out in secret and have their little love affairs with other men. And then come home and play Christian daddy and shit. And then preach to somebody else the Bible and tell a woman that she can't have an abortion. You know, they've always been like that. They have always been like that. And she's trying to make it seem like it was something good about it and shit. Like the only thing good about it was that they didn't go to say they wanted an insurrection, you know, but now they've done that. It's nothing else good about it. It's over. Oh my God.
To what MAGA was supposed to be when we voted in 2024, and it's turned into some.
It was supposed to just be for fascists. It's not. It's supposed. What was it supposed to be? They already had Nazi signs, goddamn, Nazi flags when Trump was running for office, and Marjorie Greene Taylor was supporting him. There was people in Florida riding around on their boat with Nazi symbols, Nazi flags and shit. She forgot that. She forgot that part. What the fuck? You know, we're just supposed to know. You all are fucked up. You all are fucked up. The right wing of the United States is what holds the country down. They are bigots. They should stop doing that because bigotry kills you too. You know, bigotry kills the bigot from the inside. You see what I mean? And if you're smart and you be honest, you will know that bigotry kills the bigot from the inside. It is not a sign of intelligence. It's a sign of stupidity. You see what I mean? It's a sign of just goddamn ignorance, you know? And she's trying to pretend like it was okay before. It wasn't nothing about it okay. It was all bullshit. They're against education. They're against healthcare. They have always been against it. Anything that's good, they have been against it. Anything. Any fucking thing that makes halfway sense, they've been against it. It's your tax dollars, and this is the party of you don't get nothing for your tax dollars. The only country on earth where a political party preaches that. They are the dumbest party in the Western world. Even right-wing parties in other countries don't fucking preach that their own people shouldn't have fucking education or health care. They don't preach that. God damn, or elder care. They want old, you know what I'm saying? But only in the United States. They like, cut my health care. You can cut my health care. I don't want elder care. I don't want my taxes paying for nothing.
Perverted, deranged version of MAGA now that nobody wants. And a lot of people are just like, this doesn't make sense. And I'll go further.
I think it was the Epstein files that got her. That's really what it was. And that's really when she came out, when she was like, wait a second, this dude, she was fine with all the bigotry, fine with all the classism, fine with stealing the money and telling people that get a job if you want health care. She was fine with that. The student when students wanted student debt relief so they don't have to live a whole lifetime without buying a home, she was like, you go get a job, the rest of us work the job. You know what I'm saying? And she only changed her mind when she found out that Trump was likely raping little girls. You see what I mean? Right, you know, and wasn't ready to release the Epstein files. Then she changed her mind. But all that other dumbass shit she was down with the whole time, man. And it serves her right. She needs to think about that. Trump, you supported a man that wouldn't give a fuck about you, Marjorie Greene Taylor, if you and your little daughter was being sex trafficked. That's who you, and it could be worse, because it could be that you also supported a man who, you know what I'm saying, really... He might have had his sign on your kids already too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he might have had his eyes on your kids.
Pamela, we love our military, and God bless the men and women serving, and we love their families, and we do not want to see flag draped coffins coming home in a war that does nothing for our own homeland. And then I want to add on something else. How insulting is it to Americans that the GOP can't even fund Homeland Security right now?
I want to say hello to the trolls.
Our own government that protects our own homeland while they're waging some war like 6,800 miles away in a country that none of us have ever been to against a foreign people that none of us know, killing many of these people, even to the point of killing their children. It's just absolutely absurd.
I want to follow up with you on what you just said. You said, you have been on stages, you campaigned for President Trump, and part of that was no more foreign wars. Vice President Vance has lambasted past administrations for sending American troops into conflicts without a clear mission. And even President Trump said that Vance himself expressed some reservations about the Iran war at first. Do you think this war hurts Vice President Vance's chances of becoming President Trump's successor in 2028?
Man, the United States, you better not even think about it. Like, is that even a serious goddamn question? Like, please, man. Yo, I tell you what, if Vance becomes president, that may make a lot of people give up their citizenship. After all this shit, the only reason why people haven't killed themselves already is because they're hoping that these midterms will solve the problem. People are that pissed off, man. They got to 2028. Anybody associated with this dude, what the fuck is going on with people? Why is she even asking that question? Why is she even asking? I'm sorry. Let me just let her finish. Maybe I'm being too hard, but I really don't get it. Let's see here. Let's let her play it. I'm sorry.
I want to follow up with you on what you just said. You said, you have been on stages, you campaigned for President Trump, and part of that was no more foreign wars. Vice President Vance has lambasted past administrations for sending American troops into conflicts without a clear mission. And
so did Trump.
Even President Trump said that Vance himself expressed some reservations about the Iran war at first. Do you think this war hurts Vice President Vance's chances of becoming President Trump's successor in 2028?
The longer it goes on, it definitely does hurt J.D. Vance, and that's someone that I campaigned for aggressively. I was the first member of Congress to endorse him.
Yo, if J.D. Vance is the president, the death of America is upon people. You don't even have till 2028 to get rid of these people. Once they get everything, all their hooks in, and they got their hooks in. Elon Musk has his goddamn chat, his what is that, Grok? It's being installed into the military. So and guess what? People are trying to get answers about that, but this is not good. This is not good. A lot of Americans are going to be dead before this is resolved. And if anyone want to stay alive, if you want to preserve more American lives, then you will get these people far away from the White House, like all of them, really.
Joining us now, one of the members of that bipartisan group, Democratic Senator Ben Ray Lujan of New Mexico.
Senator, so good to have you at the table. Let's start with the request that you're making of the Government Office of Accountability into the DOJ, an audit of the DOJ over their handling and release of these files. Do you believe at this point that the GAO is still operating as an independent entity?
Look, I believe the GAO is still operating as an independent entity. And I'll say this, is my Republican colleagues have been trying to get rid of the darn place. We need an independent scorekeeper to tell us what something costs, what something is, and what something is not. And sadly, right now, it's one of the few places where you can still get some facts associated with what policy is and what it's not.
Pam Bondi has repeatedly defended the Department of Justice's compliance with the law that Congress passed, that the president signed. And obviously, I think we can all, anybody that, can see, hear, touch, feel, or have heard, knows that that is actually not true because there was a deadline. The Department of Justice notably did not meet the deadline. So by virtue of that, they are not in compliance. What do you think you're going to find with this audit?
The question in this audit is abundantly clear. It's a very simple letter. There's 12 items on here that say you need to answer some specific questions here. And what it's saying is, who did the Department of Justice appoint to do this? What did the Department of Justice tell them to do? Which political names did you tell the folks doing the work to cover up or protect them and not put them in? And why in the world, if this was done correctly, were the victim's names not redacted? There was one mistake after another here, and so this is just very simple. And the work of my colleagues here, I just want to, say thank you to Senator Merkley and Senator Durbin and Senator Murkowski. This is bipartisan with the inquiries, and if I go back home and I talk to constituents, Democrats, Republicans have voted for Donald Trump as MAGA. They want to see what's going on here. And then the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. So there's too many questions back home.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. In fact, your Attorney General for the state, Raul Torres, did an op-ed and noted, "I want to be honest about the challenges ahead. Epstein has been dead for years. Zorro Ranch has changed ownership. Physical evidence may no longer exist, and the statute of limitations has likely run out on many potential offenses. These are real obstacles, and survivors deserve to hear them stated plainly. But we will follow the evidence wherever it leads and leave no credible question unexplored. At the conclusion of our investigation, we will issue a full public report. The people of New Mexico and those who were harmed are entitled to a complete and transparent accounting of what we found and what we did not." This has now been bought and is in the process of transforming into something, I guess. What is your understanding about this ranch? Why the feds stopped the investigation regarding the ranch earlier on when Epstein was alive? What do you know about it and the sale and what's going to happen to it? And because a lot of bad things happened here. And as the Attorney General noted, it requires an investigation so people understand exactly what happened.
Well, two things are happening right now, Michael, in New Mexico. One, the Attorney General of New Mexico, Raul Torres, is moving forward with that investigation. Number two, the New Mexico State Legislature, under the leadership of State Representative Andrea Romero, working with the governor of the state, Michelle Lujan Grisham, they passed legislation to create the Truth Commission. So there's two different sets of eyes that are going to be looking at what happened in Zorro. Now, what I can say with my review of those unredacted files when I went to the Department of Justice, there's no question that there were disturbing, disgusting, illegal acts that were taking place. And even if you look at the redacted part, the victim in Florida who flew maybe to New York and then went to New Mexico, and then there's victim after victim that landed up in New Mexico.
45.
There's even photos that are in the unredacted version. It doesn't show who's in them, but it's showing what was going on in New Mexico. And quite honestly, Michael, there's no good reason. There's no good reason why the Department of Justice should have stopped investigating this. Everyone should have been looking at this. They have a private airstrip. They were using commercial space as well. People were driving in and out. I mean, it's just disgusting what was going on there. And the fact that someone decided to pull back to protect.
You know, I think he's making a mistake, and this is where I don't like legacy media. Not to veer off of the this situation in the Middle East, but you know, I think they constantly underplay what's in these files. Like by calling it disgusting, yeah, he's referring to the acts of sexual sex trafficking and sexual abuse and these rape and all of this stuff of minors and women and boys, you know, girls alike, right? But to me, it just seems like they constantly play down the other aspects of this that are troubled. Like all these rich, filthy people coupling together at the ranch. They're not just, if they're doing these kind of activities, then if they're messing with little kids, that's not the only activity they're involved in. They're also involved in other things, and they're discussing it openly, their business aspirations in using the United States taxpayer, like straight up using the United States taxpayer information to get filthy rich. That's a fucking crime. That is a fucking crime. And espionage, taking shit, you know, from elected officials, you know, that taxpayers pay their bills, using the information and giving it to foreign governments so that they can have an advantage and twist and turn and control our politics from abroad. That's a fucking crime. You know, so for me, I'm just like, I don't know if they're trying to purposely keep people uninterested in that aspect of it, but if I was folks, I would stick on that aspect of it because that affects your life. It's not just what happened to these people that were sex trafficked. It's how that affected other people's lives too, indirectly, in the seriousness of it. You know, it's serious. It's not a coincidence that Trump is hiding the Epstein files at the same time he's attacking the EU. You think that's a coincidence? No, something about why he's doing that is in those files. Yes, Putin is mentioned lots of times in these files. You see what I mean? So, yeah, people better take it serious, you know. Here, let's see here.
Democratic Senator Adam Schiff of California. He's a member of the Judiciary Committee. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start actually with the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian Navy certainly has been taking some major hits in the first 2 weeks of war. But as experts have told us, it doesn't take much to really menace ships going through that narrow strait, with which 20% of the world's oil passes. It can be drones, it can be speedboats.
Rafika, you can use Discord. Here, let me drop the link. Anybody want to hop up? You can hop up on Discord. Just my advice is just install it first, you know, and then or you can just click the link. That'll prompt you to install it.
Guy with a rocket launcher can raise real havoc and fears. So we've now heard the president over the weekend in a series of, I'd argue, increasingly desperate calls for action, asking for allies to help the U.S. military do this. But that's a tough ask to make when you've spent most of the last year bashing those same allies.
That's exactly right. And I think this reflects the lack of broader planning for this war. You bash our NATO allies, and then when you need them, they're reluctant to get involved, particularly if they're not brought into the war plan to begin with. But the fact that the administration really didn't foresee the asymmetric nature of the threat to the strait is telling also. As you say, it's very easy for the Iranians to plant a few mines or use small, inexpensive projectiles to really threaten traffic in the strait, causing tankers not to want to pass through it, not to want to take that risk. Defending against that is hugely expensive. The U.S. I don't think has the capability at this point of escorting every ship that goes through. That would be a massive undertaking. Even the Secretary of Energy acknowledges they wouldn't be ready to do anything like that for weeks. And the president has said he wants the war over by then. It just seems like they didn't anticipate what Iran might do when this was eminently foreseeable.
Yeah, I mean, legacy
some new reporting.
Legacy media got a tax break. Those are big companies. They all got that Trump tax break. So that's always an incentive. Sadly enough, the way, it's connected to how they report. They don't believe in what a system, a democracy that collects taxes. Did you know that income tax wasn't always collected in the United States of America? Did you know that? And but it is now. So, and you always hear these right wingers make these arguments. The United States is not a democracy, it's a republic. They didn't have voting when it started. Yeah, well, it didn't have income taxes either. You see what I'm saying? And it took some time before they got to that part. So, if you don't want the tax system to work for the everyday person, the average Joe who is who pays into it, then fuck the tax system. No one, and I said this before plenty of times. When you look at the United States of America, between 30 and 40% of the taxes you pay at best go to something you can put your hands on, you can see, you can feel, you can touch. Soon as you leave the United States of America, that automatically goes up to 60% automatically. And in some countries like Denmark, it's 70 to 75% of the taxes you pay affect you. You can see, touch, these kind of things. And that's why people got 5-week vacation in Denmark. Everybody. That's why people have, that's why people get money. I mean, when in Denmark, when you have a child, you get a check, period. Everybody. And it's not the only country where that happens. Education, you're paid to go to higher education here. Whether it's tech school, whether it's university, you're paid. You can't, all you have to do is request the funds and it's money. You don't have to pay it back. You can get loans beyond that, but still, there's so many other, benefits that go along with that. Healthcare, that's part of the tax system. And yet, in the U.S., you pay more for it, but it covers less people. The same service, same operation costs 3-4 times more because of administrative fees. You know what I mean? The corporations are raking it in and they're taking taxpayer dollars. That's what that is. That's crazy. They subsidize corporations. That's what they're doing. Billionaires, and American people, you should be tired of it. But when you have nuts like Marjorie Greene Taylor not even advocating, not even telling people the truth, and when you have legacy media not really talking about it, not doing any comparative stories on tax systems in the U.S. versus everybody else in the Western world, they're purposely, you have to think, they're purposely not telling you. Basically, they have you thinking what you're doing is normal when it's not. It's not.
About what the president was briefed in terms of the Strait of Hormuz ahead of the conflict.
Never Under Pressure said, need to find me a husband in Finland.
As Senator, let's talk about the
that is crazy
right now. And that is literal in terms of the gas prices.
Go for it. Go find yourself a husband in Finland. Go for it.
Prices in particular. But there's some relief that's going to start spilling over. Those cost hikes are going to spill over into other areas soon. Food. We're seeing airfares already. Other areas could start to see some hikes. But also, we have lost more than a dozen Americans already in this conflict. And there is reporting that some military units are heading to the region. Unclear if they'll be deployed. But
now it's been confirmed that they are headed to the region.
It does seem like Americans are being made to buy in more and more into this conflict.
I think that's absolutely true. And of course, the heaviest cost is the one you mentioned, that we've lost 13 service members already. I hope that we lose no more. I grieve the fact that we've lost so many already, and it's particularly troubling when there was no imminent threat to the country. It's one thing if we're attacked, it's another if they're on the precipice of attacking, and it's another thing still if we decide, for reasons that are still not clear, that we're going to go to war, a war of choice. In addition to those human costs, you have the immense financial costs.
I see you.
And those take the form of the billions of dollars we've already spent dropping bombs over Iran. But it also is a cost that people are paying at the pump, and people will be increasingly paying at the grocery store I sit on the Agriculture Committee. A lot of the fertilizer and other input.
Russell, what state do you live in, and who's your health care provider?
Inputs to agriculture come through that strait also, which is going to mean farmers are pinched even more, and consumers are going to be facing even steeper hikes at the grocery store. All of this brings into stark relief the fact the president promised to do the exact opposite of what he's doing. He promised to bring down costs. He promised to keep us out of foreign wars. Now he's bringing us into foreign wars and driving costs up further.
John Heilemann, let's bring you in here. I think it is safe to say, as this war enters its third week, it is not going quite as how the president and his team wanted it to. There's been unquestionably some real damage that the U.S. military has.
Damn, Missouri, and I have no health care. Damn. Okay.
Delivered.
Well, listen, anybody want to hop up now. Yeah, because I'm going to be here for about a half an hour more. But I was waiting for Fries, man. I saw Fries. I thought he was hopping up.
Iran and their military.
I wanted him to go over some information about Sudan with me. People need to be concerned, because this is just one front. Sudan is also there, and the Sahel, and what's been going on in Sudan has been basically even worse than what's been going on in Gaza, right? And it has the same players that's going on in the Middle East, except they found a way to cooperate. Some of them, when they're enemies in the Middle East, they're buddies in Sudan for some reason, and vice versa. The friends are enemies for some reason. It flips around in Sudan. There's this kind of juxtaposing going on. So people should we're gonna review it. I want Friars to come up, but I see time is running. But I'm gonna be on this. I'm gonna be mentioning that every day. So let's go.
Air military and its ability to launch missiles. That said, as we've been chronicling here for the last 10 minutes, the Strait of Hormuz largely closed. Gas prices are.
Okay. I see Steve is coming up. Yo, Steve, what's up? You there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on?
Not much. Just been watching the show.
Okay. All right. Did you want to comment on something, or are you gonna wait?
I wanted to. I mean, on this, there's nothing really to comment on. It's just a mess to see. Let's see what happens. Let's see if Netanyahu's alive. Let's see what, because the military has war gamed this since '98, and every single time it's the same outcome. We can't win a ground campaign. And then they do an after action review and they put that on the shelves. So Donald Trump has grabbed these things off the shelf and he just wants the war. He disregards all the military intelligence. He dismissed Tulsi Gabbard.
Right.
And he wants to hear, and he's starting a war, whether anybody likes it or not. And he knows.
Yo, Fries, stop for a second, Fries. For some reason, I'm just realizing this is you. Fries, man, I thought you was Steve Sterling. It's the other guy. That's why I was waiting, man. I'm sorry, man. Okay, now I'm with you. Go ahead. Continue. Thank you for hopping up, man. Go ahead now. Continue now. I just had to get it right. I thought it was the other guy's name is Steve too, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead now. Go ahead, Fries.
Yeah. Hey, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Sudan, because that's a really interesting conflict. So if you can go to Wikipedia and just pull up the Sudan and like the Sudan Army, that's called the Sudan Armed Forces.
Okay.
And look at the allies. So understand that this isn't a new war. Like, this was back in 2002. So go back to 1997, and the U.S. put sanctions on Sudan because Sudan was letting in all of these jihadists.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when they did that's when they let Bin Laden into the country, and Bin Laden helped them build like a road system, because the Bin Laden family builds roads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they do. There's an article about this.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
So in exchange for that, they also were, like, Bin Laden was also building camps for jihadists. Okay, so
Yeah.
all the jobs given to the country, and that ended up resulting like Bin Laden left the country, but the jihadists stayed, and they became the Janjaweed. So why this matters is the Janjaweed was working with Bashir's government, the government of the country, and so they're the ground forces on the ground, but in the air is the Sudanese military, and they're connected to genocide in Darfur. But the genocide in Darfur had to do with water rights. So there was going to be a referendum, and the people were going to vote for for water rights, and the government didn't want that. So they let these Janjaweed come in and push the people out off their land. And
Mm.
then when the vote came, all these Janjaweed are on there rather than the farmers voting. The Janjaweed vote in favor of the government.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, so there's the thing called. You ever heard of Arabic gum?
Arabic gum. Now, what's that?
So it comes from the acacia tree. Are you familiar with Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
Okay. So the main ingredient in Coca-Cola is called Arabic gum,
Oh, really?
and you can take a look at it. Yeah. And so that's the dawn of time back in when they first started, right? So it's a secret deal that they have, and this is the reason why we've always been cool with Sudan. They're
Okay.
the number one producer. They're the most acacia trees. They're the number one producers of it, and Coca-Cola can't make Coca-Cola without this product.
Oh, really? Okay. So I need to look that up. What is it called again?
It's called Arabic gum. It comes from the acacia tree.
Arabic gum. Let me see something here. All right. Arabic gum. Is that? Oh, is that this right here? Soda van. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Coca-Cola.
I just saw it in Danish. It says soda van. Right. Okay. Here it is. This
So
we use that.
why this matters is, and when the U.S. decides to put sanctions on the government there over this insurgent problem, there's nothing they can do because they said, look, if you want to put sanctions on us, we'll cut this off from all of you guys. None of you guys will have Coca-Cola, and then they mocked the U.S. They mocked everybody over it, and you know what we did? We shut the fuck up
Mm.
because Coca-Cola was like, we can't make Coca-Cola without that, and they would. America wants a Coca-Cola, so we just dealt with it.
Okay. Let me
Okay.
let me try to
So
get
then,
this in English. Go ahead. Yep. I'm listening.
so then the war breaks. So then, 2002, the Janjaweed decided to start launching these attacks in Darfur, and they commit these genocides. And the Bush administration has a problem now because the Bush administration wants to go to war with Iraq, but they need money, so they borrow money from China. But China is building infrastructure in Sudan and in the Darfur region. They're building all these pipelines and these train lines and everything. And so we're borrowing money from China. So China says, if you want to keep these loans, you're not going to get involved in this war. And so the the government of the Bush administration backs out and doesn't get involved in the war because they're in the war in Iraq. So we turn a blind eye to that. There's a there's a book. I think I sent you a link to it. It's called and the chat can look this up. It's a book called The Devil Came on Horseback.
Oh
It's
yeah,
a, it's
yeah.
a book. It's a
I have
movie.
that up. That's this right here. Hold on, let me pull that up. Yeah, I got that video queued. Yo, is this what you're
Yeah,
talking about? The gum right here. It says 70% of it
yeah,
is from the Sahel region, Senegal, Somalia,
yeah.
and I
It's from
guess that
Sudan.
also means
Yeah,
Sudan, right? The Sahel is
yeah,
Sudan,
yeah,
also. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. That's
Okay.
that's where it comes from. So without that, they can't make the gum, and that's what they base it. Like there was a whole article. They had a press conference in Sudan. Bashir had all the coke cans above him, and he goes, "You want this, America? You want your Coca-Cola? Then there's not going to be any sanctions on my country." So it was
Mm.
kind of a big deal, and they buried it because they didn't want the world knowing about it. It was all over Europe, but the press conference never even was shown in the United States.
Wow. Oh, was that right? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Okay,
so they
damn.
they suppressed that completely.
Okay, now tell me about this clip. The devil came on horseback.
On horseback. So this is about the Janjaweed, and the Janjaweed committed the genocide there, and they were doing it in conjunction with Bashir's government, the president, the government of the government at the time.
Okay.
And so he talks about what I mean. he goes into detail. So I met this guy in Rwanda when I was working in Rwanda. He came there. He talked about this at the Rwandan Genocide Museum, and he really kind of laid out the cause of the war and what was going on and why he begged Condoleezza Rice to do something, and she said we can't do anything. They try to get the CIA to get involved with it, but the Bush administration couldn't get involved in another war. Plus, the real deal is that they were getting money from China to fight the war in Iraq, and China controls Sudan, and so China tell the U.S. don't get involved in the war, and so J.W. Bush didn't get involved.
Yeah, and this is something people need to be aware of. But I'm gonna I also did some digging, right? I mean, not a whole lot of extensive digging. Obviously, this has been going on for 50 years, right? So, yeah, go ahead.
We've had relationships for that long, so understand like this whole two-sided thing is not that everybody's been working with Sudan. So everybody works with Sudan. It's like and you know how in space we try not to let disagreements mess up the space mission.
Right.
We all work together. It's kind of the same thing with the Sudan, because if for some reason there's a war and a genocide, people flee every place, and it causes this horrible diaspora.
Right.
So it benefits everybody not to do it. Like I worked in Rwanda, and we sent troops in there in the UN mission in Darfur, and they set up what's called IDP camps and internally displaced person camps. And the goal is to keep them in the country where they're safe rather than fleeing outside the country. So that's why Saudi Arabia, Iran, all these countries have a say in the matter, because that's where they're going to be fleeing to if they leave that country.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the reason they all work together. And China's also making money off it. The U.S. isn't making money. U.S. really wasn't getting involved. But again, the business-wise, we get Coca-Cola from there.
But let me ask you this: who are the countries that have been supplying weapons to different sides or groups?
Now, so this is the part where it gets weird. So in 2011, there's a civil war, right? And North Darfur, or North Sudan and South Sudan split apart. Okay, so that's one level of it. After that, I think his name is Bashir. He was ousted in like I think it was like, you gotta look and see when it was, but I think it was like 2019. He was ousted. Okay, so when his government left, the Janjaweed went with him. The Janjaweed became the rapid support force.
Okay.
And the UAE supported his government, so the UAE supports them because the UAE is getting gold from them and other stuff from them.
Okay.
So the UAE wants them to return back into power. So that's why the UAE is supporting the Janjaweed. Now Wagner Group are just fucking murderers, mercenaries. One of the things about the Janjaweed hate black farmers.
Oh, really?
It's weird. Oh yeah. I mean, if you look at them, you say, "Well, your dog, what does it matter, bro?" Did you ever see that one Star Trek commercial or Star Trek show where there was like these two elements were fighting? One guy was white on the black side, white on the left side. I think it was white on the left side and black on the other side.
Right.
And they were looking at saying, "You look the exact same," and they go, "You create look nothing like him." That's the difference between the Janjaweed and the farmers, because they're Arab tribesmen versus farmers. They see them as black, and they call them the slave race. I mean, it's in the documentary. The documentary, he outlines it very clearly. And so that's the difference, is these are Arabs. UAE is the Arab Emirates. So they support the tribal men, the farmer, or the Janjaweed, the RSF, and they want them to return to power.
So they support the RSF, and the RSF are the farmers.
No, the RSF are the Janjaweed,
and they hate the farmers. So
they hate the farmers.
So the United Arab Emirates is supporting basically
the old regime,
right?
The old regime.
Okay, the old
regime.
Which
got thrown out.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
That's what's really going on. So the signs are very clear. And the Wagner Group is with the mercenaries, because the Wagner Group can make money on a mercenary fight. They go with the money.
So you mean any mercenary group? Not the RS, not the same group that the United Arab Emirates is supporting? The same group or not?
Yeah. Same group.
The
Same
RSF,
group.
the RSF, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
who the Wagner Group support. Like there's images of their old leader, Proxy, whatever his name was. He had when they went to his house. He had images of decapitated Africans on his wall. That's from the Sudan region.
Are you serious? Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me look that up, man. Let me see something here.
You can look that up. I
there?
sent you that too. I sent you a link to that too. On your
you did
on your
okay. Well, let me find it here because it's on. I need
on your WhatsApp.
Okay, yeah, but I can't open the WhatsApp here. So let me see.
Oh,
It says
Just pull up whatever his name is, Brzezowski. I forget his name right now off the top of my head. But the old leader of Wagner Group, and photos of decapitated Africans.
Yeah, let me look this shit up right now, man. I mean, because this is what I mean. It's not just about Russia, but because and that's what I try to get people to understand. There's a lot of behavior that, is expressed by a lot of different countries, right? And that's why we need to look at this stuff, because we could get lost into thinking that it's one as simple as there's a good guy, there's a bad guy. No, there's many players inside of this situation, And so let me see.
This is a good guy and a bad guy. And I'll tell you, the bad guy or the guys wanting to commit the genocide, that's the Wagner Group, who are Nazis who work for Putin in Rwanda, in Ukraine, and the same Nazis are in Africa happily killing black people.
And are they okay now? And they're working with. Hold on, aren't they working with the government of Mali and the Wagner Group? No.
Well, they're working. So
they were.
The Wagner Group they're in a lot of different places, but their goal is to get to kill black people. They love that more than killing Ukrainians.
So just being there, they're happy that the government will work with them because the government is fighting other black people. Basically,
as long as you kill black people, they're down for the cause. I guess you understand. Wagner Group are real Nazis. They have an ideology of anti-woke. They have an ideology of anti-black. That's that's in their ideology. They're actually like the Azov Battalion doesn't leave Ukraine. They're Nazis, but they're football hooligans who are just protecting their homeland. Very different than the Azov Battalion. The Wagner Group, who was leaving their country to kill other people.
Right, they're traveling abroad and shit.
They're traveling any place that So that's the vast difference that no one talks about. Like Putin wants to denazify. He did with the Wagner Group. If you don't get the humor in that, then you just don't get Putin.
All right, well, let's check this. I want to try to find those pictures, but in the meantime, let's see what they say here.
It's easy. Just pull up. What's the guy's name? What's the leader of
Prigozhin?
Pull up Prigozhin and photos of black Africans. You're not gonna find the pictures. The pictures are not online. They took them off instantly.
Okay.
But they talk about it when they searched his house. What they found portraits of black decapitated Africans.
Okay, damn. I mean, a lot of sometimes I see many Africans associating with Putin, like he's automatically that's a great thing, that he's a friend to Africa, and I just think like, damn, man, you guys
Candace Owens.
Like, yeah, okay, so let me see here. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna play a little bit of this while I find these pictures here. Let's see.
They're going to play it for the chat so they can see it. But I looked at the pictures. You're not going to find the pictures. They took the pictures down when they first came out. They were up, and they took them right down. It's what they found when they searched his house in Russia, and they leaked them out at first, and then they disappeared offline. I mean, it's decapitated. It's decapitated rebels that are decapitated because they're doing a genocide, and that's who they're working with. So they're killing entire populations in the Sudan.
Why do you think other black people will work with them?
Again, watch about the judgery. Watch this. You gotta watch the thing. The devil.
Okay.
more than that. That's the
I
beginning,
see
but
what you
there's a
mean.
whole film about it.
Okay, I
And
think I
then
see
once
what
you
you mean.
understand it,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this is the actual genocide. Like
Yeah.
they hate farmers because they're Arab tribesmen. Like
Mm.
look at ISIS. Why does ISIS kill other Arabs? Right?
Right.
Well, ISIS kills everybody. You
Right.
know, so it's the same thing as this. It's you. I mean, like I gave you a link to look at like the Janjaweed,
Mm-hmm.
their tribalism and their anti-black.
Send me the link here. Send me the link.
I can't send it to you in the chat like this. I send it to you in your. I'll send it to you in your Discord next time. But I had it before. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can put it on
Discord. That's what
Discord.
I mean. Send it to me in Discord. All right. Let's see here.
Yeah, send it to
My
me.
job was to go monitor
But
the ceasefire.
yeah, they just
All I had was a
again,
camera,
it's
a
so
pen,
deep
and a
that it's
paper.
you can't really. It's not just one thing. It's just a series of. It's how they are.
Mm. Yeah, I hear you.
And so it goes way beyond just like it goes beyond stuff that you and I can understand, which seems normal to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's just beyond normal.
All right, let me
But
play
for
a little
them,
bit of this.
it's everyday life. Yeah, play that, and I'll start singing.
Okay.
The Darfur conflict is spreading farther to the east and is knocking on our door. The general situation here is tense.
We know that innocent lives are being lost. We know who's doing it, and we know exactly what will happen if we do not act.
Why shouldn't the world know about this? The people have the power to
Yes.
stand up and say genocide never again.
Yeah. Okay. You sent it to me.
I just sent it in the Discord.
Okay. Let me open this up then. Let me see here. Messages. Yeah. You just okay. Here we go. Steve. Let me 2 seconds. Where is it at? Okay. Putin say this. Okay. Oh, here we go. All right. And then that's the right one.
Yeah, that's one.
Okay. Oh, you know what I can do? Let me just do it this way. Copy it from here and then copy, and then I can pull it up here. All right. So we here and now. Let me put it here. Boom. Hopefully that will show up now.
That's when I just found when I sent it to you. But when I first saw it, there was actual pictures. It's like, oh, this is horrifying. And then within days, the pictures were offline.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they took them down pretty fast.
So here we go.
I mean, it's not something that you want to see, dude. It's like, oh, this is just
it's disgusting.
It's
disgusting shit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah,
but,
I hear you. So we can bypass that, but it is good to know it. You know, let me see here. It says,
but people should try to. If you can find it on the chat, definitely find it. Find this on the chat. Find it.
You know what?
Again.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to Damn, why did this black out? I'm going to put this link in the chat also, so people can have it in case people want to read the article.
Yeah.
Let me see here. But why is it doing? Oh, here we go. Now let me go over to the chat. Are we there? Oh no, it's not there. Here, let me put it in the chat real quick. 2 seconds. Boom. So then people can follow along later if they're interested in reading the article. Here we go. So
exactly.
it says after Wagner mutiny. Okay, Putin's sadist new findings in Prigozhin villa included photo of decapitated Africans. Okay, after the Wagner mutiny, the palatial home of the mercenary group's founder, Prigozhin, was searched in St. Petersburg among other chilling finds. Okay, are several heads of slain Africans. Okay, it fits in with the profile of a man Proc Media calls Putin's sadist. Okay, damn. All right. And this is Prigozhin. Everybody knows what his face looks like. Now, let me see here. Moscow on October 18, 2011, then Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, who had recently announced his intention to return to the presidency, was walking through the Konstantinovsky. Damn, that's what that's called? Konstantinovsky. Okay. So it's named after Constantine. Okay. palace in St. Petersburg. On his way, he crossed paths with a bald man. Great hairstyle, Putin quipped with a smile, shook the man's hand, and continued on to meeting with the heads of government of the former USSR states who had gathered in the northern Russian city. Okay. This is Moscow they talking about? Oh, St. Petersburg, northern Russian city.
This is just talking about how those two met. Yeah.
Right. Okay. The bald man was was Prigozhin, the future founder of the Wagner mercenary group. So okay, so he started that. Okay, after 2011, and
he was a cook. He was a cook for Putin.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah, that's how he got started.
Okay, let me see. An interlocutor that would prove to play an important role in Russia's interference in the U.S. sanctions, in the military intervention in Syria and Libya, and most recently in the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Okay. Why is this slow? Okay, so here we go. But Prigozhin privileged status was Putin with Putin would not last indefinitely. I see why I just opened something else up. Let me close it. Okay. And in late Russia's military command in late June, the sworn alliance was apparently over. In the meantime, news has since leaked that Putin met with Prigozhin and another Wagner member after the failed insurrection. Oh, really? Adding uncertainty to the future of the group's leader. Okay. Still in recent days, I remember that too. I remember hearing something about that. Still in recent days, we have been learning more about Prigozhin's past following the insurrection. Okay, Most notably, officials say they found framed photographs showed several heads. At first, it was unclear from the censored photo who the victims were. Okay. They found a cache of weapons in his home also. Okay. So, but on Wednesday, independent Russian media outlet Proxy published a photo revealing that the victims were of African origin, likely from a location on the continent where Wagner mercenaries were already infamous for having committed countless atrocities. Okay. Now, let me see here. Right. Disturbing souvenirs. More details of the police raid on Prigozhin's home and offices came of Russian state-owned broadcaster Rossiya 1, presumably aimed at discrediting the Wagner chief. The broadcast provided a glimpse into Prigozhin's lavish way of life, a grand piano, indoor swimming pool, jacuzzi, and sauna. But amidst these displays of luxury, more disturbing items emerged: an assortment of weapons, a stuffed alligator, fake passport, and wigs to help disguise the bald leader. Okay, so let's see here. Also showed a sledgehammer, possibly the same instrument used by Prigozhin to beat those he had accused of betrayal, and the photograph with the decapitated heads strewn on an African roadside. Damn, I'm trying to think. Did I see that picture at some time? For some reason, it rings a bell, man. The Wagner Group became infamous for its cruelty. Such revelations draw a connection between the geographical objections of Wagner and his bloodthirsty leader. For at least a decade, Prigozhin was a bona fide untouchable in Putin's orbit, a ruthless, out-of-control criminal who regularly broke the law, defied both legal and ethical limits, and somehow remained immune to any consequences, all due to his association with the Russian leader. Okay.
So unfortunately,
yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Putin plays both sides of it because everybody was working with the government. When the government flipped over, even though Bashir was left the government.
Okay, you talking about in Syria? In Syria, he worked on both sides.
In Sudan, in the Sudan.
I mean, it's Sudan. Sorry. Yeah. That's right. Sorry.
But there was no both sides. Remember, they were all working for the government. The U.S. said, we're not going to deal with you because you're committing war crimes. Putin's guys stayed. And then when the government left, Putin's guys were like, oh, what do we do? So they stayed with the government, but his mercenaries went with the Janjaweed with the ouster leader.
Okay, I see.
Putin was like, okay, well, we're going to stay with the main government. So everybody stay with the main government because he can't work with the mercenaries, right? He can't work with them. The UAE is, and then he just lets Wagner Group be there for him. But he's smiling in the new government's face like we support you. At the same time, as mercenaries are supporting the old government.
Right. Okay. I see. Yeah, I got it. So, but
The
he's
U.S.
still,
the
but he's
U.S.
still
isn't
on both
doing that.
sides. But he's still on both sides.
But that's the thing. It's not we're all doing it. Only Putin is playing both sides at this point. The Chinese are doing it, and the crazy part is, you know who's also against them? The
Who?
Houthis. The Houthis are like these guys are pieces of shit. The Houthis hate these guys.
Okay,
And it tells
that's
you a lot about who the
interesting.
Houthis really are, because the Houthis really aren't the bad guys. The Houthis are the ones who stopped the genocide that was being conducted by Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
So the Houthis
Exactly.
are actually the good guys in a sense, but we frame them as the bad guys.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I
You
agree. I
know,
hear you, man. Because you have. I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm not. I can't speak for every action, but I do know that essentially, yeah, that's what they're the opposition to a cruel Saudi Arabian regime.
they're the opposite to any
Yeah.
cruel regime,
Yeah.
and they unfortunately we're so fucked up. We are the cruel regime. Like the only reason people are attacking Israel is because Israel really is killing Palestinians,
Yeah.
and we don't notice it because we're not paying attention to it. But they are. They're making note. They're seeing the murders that happen all the time. That's why they hate Israel. They scream death to Israel because Israel is killing Shiite. That's why they
Yeah.
scream death to Israel. Not because they hate our freedom. It's
But
because they hate the fact
but
that we're
are
tyranny.
Palestinians Shiites?
Yes, the Hamas is mainly Shiite.
Okay, I got you. Hamas is okay. I got you. But Palestinians are
But
what? Both. They're both. They're Sunnis or Shiites also, or what?
they're so Palestinians are so understand that the Fatah government, the PLO were atheists,
Yeah.
so they're secular. There's Shiites, which are the Hamas in them, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's Sunni, which are supported by Saudi Arabia, and then there's Christian Palestinians, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's the Bedouins, and so
Okay.
there's all different kinds of Palestinians. It's not just a monolith.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
we only focus on the Hamas because that's what Israel wants you to focus on, so that they can justify killing them.
Yeah. We
But
focus on the
there's
armed militia, basically. The armed
the
militias, right?
30,000 man armed militia. Was
Yeah.
there 30,000 of them? You know, and so how can you kill 300,000 because there's 30,000?
Right.
So the numbers just
Yeah.
don't
The
add up.
numbers don't add up, right? Yeah. Exactly. That's true,
Yeah.
man. That's true. Well, let me see
So
here. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, that's all I got. So I'm listening.
Let me see here. I wanted to. What else does it say in here? Okay, okay. It says the inception of the Wagner Private Military Company (PMC), and we're talking about Sudan, right? And juxtaposed to the players in the Middle East right now at war with each other and how they behave differently, maybe in Sudan. All these different groups, right, came to public attention in 2015 when an organization sought recruits that partake in the military campaign in Syria, right, to support a
Right.
strongman, President Bashir al-Assad. The PMC, who was also expanding around Africa, Prigozhin structures were present in at least 13 African countries, serving as both
Yes.
mercenaries and political strategists who help local leaders seize or retain power. You know, this is very interesting because folks said this. People set off a warning saying this was going on, and a lot of people just ignored it, man. But
Russian propaganda covered it up.
yeah, because people, I think what's happened is that, which I try to tell people don't do, but I think what's happened is that people, they take their dissatisfaction or dislike for Western powers, and they mistakenly believe that that means that the other group, like Russia, is any better, and support that
Right.
as good. So that and in them supporting it as good, that translates into turning a blind eye, like just not anything bad said about Russia, you just drop it. Let Russia do whatever they want
Right.
because they're anti-imperialism, when in fact they're imperialists too.
Yeah, they're the worst imperialists, especially in Africa. Like a lot of times we want to give China a pass, but understand the genocide in Darfur took place because China forbid anyone else to step in because they wanted to keep that oil money coming.
Right.
So China not just oversaw that genocide, they forbid the United States and the Bush administration from even getting involved in it.
Yeah,
So
and
China is definitely implicit in genocides.
and you don't see anything about it on TV, and it's going on right now
Okay,
still.
going on right now. And then Russia, of course, Putin plays both sides. When he wants to do the dirt, he calls in the Wagner group. But when he wants to have diplomacy, he has those guys go to the meeting with him. And so you think that Russia's the good guy, but the truth is, if they get pissed at you, they'll send the Wagner group in and they'll kill you, and then they put the press on top of it to cover the whole thing up. So some stuff might get leaked out. But like the DRC, for example, there's reports of Wagner Group being there committing atrocities, and then a Russian reporter tried to report it, and he got killed. So they completely Russia suppresses the news way better than the United States does. The United States only has to suppress the news inside of America. Russia suppresses it everywhere. So because I remember the KGB never ended. The KGB was the one thing that lasted from the USSR. It never even lost a single member. It gained more power, and it formed the oligarchy that run Russia. So the KGB is Russia.
Right. Yeah, they're
So
actually
that
are
old,
Russia. Exactly. They're the government.
yeah,
They're the real
they're the
government.
government. So that old apparatus is still alive, and that includes especially like the guy last night that you were talking to. I mean, I'm sure he's a good-hearted guy, but that guy was just
Oh, you
everything
talking
he
about
was saying was
Sterling?
for Russian.
Yeah,
Sterling
Sterling.
was
Yeah.
a giant Russian talking point because
Yeah.
he buys it. So this shows how big their influence is, and it is like if you even get a slight story, unless you look into it, you're going to believe the Russian narrative because it fits your belief system.
Yeah, and I advise people like don't believe any narrative. Look, because you don't have to. You can just go in and look at the details and research and just look fairly.
Yeah,
Just look up there
you
because
can
the
look it up.
information's out there. Yeah, exactly. And you can't keep the truth a secret. You know what I mean? So all
No,
you have to do is want to find it, and it's there. And I don't mean in any spooky way. I just mean like do your comparative data searches.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Just look at all the data and ask yourself what is coming out, what's screaming out, what overall,
yeah.
and then you will get to the truth. Yeah, and but I think it's very appropriate right now, Friars, for people to put some focus back into Sudan, right? Because we can see the players, we can resolve it instead of taking sides. Like me, I'm an everyday person. Why do I have to take sides over? I mean, look, the United States is the country I come from. I'm an American citizen, right? So I do want my country to do well. But when it comes to wrongdoing, I'm not going to say it's okay. You see what I mean? Even though it's my own country. And I wouldn't say that for China, and I wouldn't say it for Russia either. I wouldn't say it for Saudi Arabia. I wouldn't say it for Iran. I wouldn't say it for any country, right? So, and why wouldn't I? Because first of all, I mean, I live in a pretty peaceful country where people have a lot of rights. So I want everybody to have rights. You know what I mean? Similar, and but I wouldn't turn a blind eye and choose sides in this because these are, I hate to think of my own country as an imperialist country, but it is a superpower. No question about it.
Yeah.
And it has strong influence being that, So I wouldn't justify anything that they do wrong. It's not even necessary. And also it's un-American. You know what I mean? Like we're raised in the United States to criticize our government where you need to criticize it. That's what freedom is. That's the First Amendment.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I put this in a way? Can I put this in a way that might make more sense?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the old government of Sudan is his name was Omar al-Bashir.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as that's Donald Trump and his entire administration. It's the Trump regime, and the Janjaweed are the Proud Boys who actually committed a genocide and killed just black people. Okay, let that sink in. They get thrown out of office. January 6th, they get thrown out of office. They go to jail. Some of them get away, and now they want to come back again.
Right.
So you have to choose a side here, because you have to understand there are, even though the government of Sudan is not perfect, they definitely kill people, they definitely do bad things. But one government is attacking, like one government is killing all the Trump supporters, family and all. The other government is actually committing genocide against the people, and that's the government that we got rid of. The only reason the UAE is supporting them is because the UAE wants to have regional homogeny,
Right.
or hegemony. Hegemony. That's what they want. So they want to get that back, and they have it with Bashar. So, the rapid support force are bad people. You don't want them coming back in power. They're
So,
going to finish
okay.
the genocide that they started.
So let's just
So
see who's providing them
you
with
have to
weapons.
push
Go
them
ahead.
out completely. Like today is providing them with weapons. The Wagner Group's providing them with weapons, and the UAE is providing them with weapons.
Okay.
Because the UAE is basically, so like the UAE is Russia. The UAE is Putin. If Trump left office, Putin would be the one giving him weapons to get him back in power again.
Okay.
Because he was doing his agenda, and that's what they want, him back in power so that they can finish their agenda. However, the rapid support force wants one thing: let us finish the genocide.
Right. That's
So
their
if they come back,
biggest thing. Right.
that's their biggest thing, and they'll do what you want them to do. But you have to be with them on one thing. You have to be with them on. We have to get rid of these black farmers.
Is it because
So
they don't
there's a
want them
couple-
to retaliate or something like that when
No,
if they get power, or
it's
what?
because no, they really just. Well, why does MAGA want to get rid of black people?
Hmm.
And again, if you don't say that, if people say that's not the case, what do you think woke is all about?
Yeah. What is woke
isn't
all
just
about?
yeah.
It's true.
Woke is really woke is about getting rid of black people. First, we get rid of all the black women in power,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no black men really. But if there's a race war, which Trump wants, they're gonna kill everybody, and that's their ultimate goal. And that's the ultimate goal of the Janjaweed, who are just the rapid, who are as
Look at this, man. Look at what it says here. It says, look, as of early 2026, the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, in Sudan are supplied through a complex web of regional allies, illicit smuggling routes, and guns for gold arrangement. While the RSF denies receiving external military aid, multiple international investigations and UN reporting have identified several primary sources. Okay. The United Arab Emirates, right? So the United Arab Emirates, let's just pull the map up real quick. The United Arab Emirates is right over here. There. We see that? Yeah, there it is.
But that's the old ally of the former leader.
Right. Yeah, the old ally of the former. Yeah, and they're right across the Straits of Hormuz from Iran. Right. So they're against Iran, right? In this situation, or no? Or are they just neutral, or what?
In the war right now, they may have problem with Iran because they have a lot of U.S. support.
Okay.
And so the U.S. and so they were going to go into Qatar and start a war under Trump in 2017. Remember, but it stopped by Secretary of State Rex Tillerson stopped that war.
Okay, right. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so let me see here. The United Arab Emirates is widely identified as the primary patron of the RSF, although Emirati government officially denies these claims. Okay, so they deny military hardware. Okay, supply of sophisticated weaponry, including Chinese-made drones like the Wing Long 2, surface-to-air missiles, and UK-made engines targeting. Where are they getting these weapons from, man? Not are they getting
Wagner Group?
So the Wagner Group is acquiring them, and then I got it, and of course that's
all that
how
comes from the war with Ukraine.
And this is how they can hide their connection by using harvesting other groups' military supplies. Right, I got you. Okay,
it goes to Europe, it goes to Asia, it goes to all these back routes that winds up in either either Ukraine, eastern Ukraine, or ones in the Sudan.
Okay. Okay. So it says, let me see, logistical hubs, use of airports in eastern Chad and such as, okay, so they get it through Chad and southeastern Libya, Kufra, and as transition points for military cargo. Yeah, I've heard about this before.
This is also through the Wagner Group.
Right.
Because the Wagner Group's in 13 different countries.
They use Libya, right?
Developed long ago. Yeah, and Libya is one of their big hubs. They have oil there. All those places were developed long ago, and there's nothing that we can do to really stop it.
Right. Okay. And so it says strategic motive. The UAE views the RSF as a secular bulwark against the Muslim Brotherhood linked elements within the Sudanese Armed Forces (SAF) and maintains a long-standing relationship with the RSF leader Hemedti dating back to the Yemen War. Okay. So the Wagner Group, Africa Corps. All right. Historically, the Russian mercenary group Wagner, now largely reorganized as Africa Corps under the Russian Ministry of Defense, has become a critical partner. The gold pipeline, the RSF controls some of the Sudan's most lucrative gold mines, and the guns for gold swap. Wagner has provided man-pads, man-portable air defense systems, and tactical training in exchange for gold smuggling routes that help Russia bypass international sanctions. Okay.
Now, does it make sense now?
Yeah, it does.
That's good. Russia needs this for money. So that Russia needs this for money.
Yeah, they need it for money,
this
right?
is how they're getting their money. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, they need gold.
The war with Ukraine.
Yeah, and gold, they can trade gold too. And it's not Russian rubles or dollars or whatever. All right. So shifting loyalties. By mid-2025 and into 2026, reports suggest Russia has begun hedging its bets, offering some of the support to the SAF to secure a naval base on the Red Sea while maintaining its commercial mercenary links with the RSF. So this is what I wanted to illustrate to people. When we look at what is going on in Iran, because again, these are the same players. When we look at what's going on in Iran right now, or in the Middle East right now, essentially, this is imperialism. Everyone is there for a reason. They're there to get something because they're working.
But we're not there.
Yeah, we're not there.
Yeah, they're right.
We're not there. Yeah, that's also another interesting fact, right? But what I mean is,
very clear reason why. But go ahead.
Yeah, but what I mean is like we're talking about. We look at imperialism like it can only come from Western Europeans, right? Or the United States. The whole thing, the entire conflict, China, Russia, they are there because they're engaged in imperialist behavior. That's why they're there. And everyone else who's involved with them is doing the same thing, mismatching. They're off trying to get a buck too. It has nothing. Go ahead.
China's been there since 2002 or 2003. So understand, this is what people have been like. The Belt and Roads Initiative is just colonization or colonialism by a different name.
Right.
And people hate to hear that, but that's all that it is.
That's all it is.
And Russia, that's all that is. And if you look at, again, there's a book, Foundation of Geopolitics, by Dugin, Alexander Dugin. Russian imperialism will not be complete until they own Africa, until they own all of Eurasia, until they own Europe. So Russian imperialism lasts forever because if Putin stops his war, he's going to have problems at home. Mm-hmm. So Putin will have war forever. He needs war to prevent uprising at home.
Basically. And it's working. So far, it's working. Because he has a lot of the disinformation. Their biggest weapon is disinformation, and people eat it up. People eat it up, man.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's another way of saying a lot of people are looking for a hero that's just not there, that just doesn't exist. You know, because when you're looking for a hero, you don't pick up the devil, do you? I mean, they picked up axe murderers and fucking people that don't even care about their own countrymen. You know what I mean? And then these are supposed to be the heroes for someone else. It's crazy. But listen, Friars, man. Wednesday, man. I hope you're free on Wednesday, man, because because I am. And
Okay.
and I'm going to go back into this topic. I want to start off with this topic. Start off with Sudan this time, and then revert back to what's going on in the Middle East. Do it back, do it counter this time and shit. Because I think the more we talk about this topic in Sudan, the more clearer what is actually going on in the Middle East will become to people.
Yeah, maybe they're connected to you. It's just the Sudan thing has been going on since really in like '97
Yeah, it's
when
old,
they
man.
allowed these.
No, it's
It's an
older.
old
It's
conflict,
old. Yeah. Oh, I
and
see what you mean. The new
and
conflict, right? I got
yeah,
you. Yeah.
the new
That's true.
conflict, and we've really turned a blind eye to it. And the main reason why is, well, there's two reasons. One, China's there,
Mm-hmm.
so the U.S. can't really get anything out of it. Two, we're already there. We're getting Arabic gum out of it, so
Mm-hmm.
no one knows about that, and they don't want to mess that up.
Mm-hmm.
And three is it's about stopping a black genocide.
Right.
And
So that's never
and
gets interest of anybody.
never. Clinton didn't stop a black genocide. Trump didn't stop a black genocide. Bush didn't stop a black genocide. Obama tried to help a little bit. He did, but he's at the same time he's committed even a worse atrocity by killing an African leader in Libya. And Trump gave a rat's ass about black genocide, and Putin told him stay out of it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And Sudan
yeah,
is active right now. It's active.
Sudan's actually right now. Again, I worked in setting up a UN mission in Darfur and the UN mission in the Sudan in the South Sudan. So I have friends who are trying to work with South Sudanese, and he's like, bro, it's impossible. Like they're your friends one day, the next day you're finding out this captain, this friend of yours, just went out and committed a genocide. You're like, well, why did you do that? And he goes, because so and so pissed me off, and it's a never ending conflict over there, and it's hard to get involved in it. But there's so much resources over there. Everybody wants to be involved, but the people that are suffering are the people. The people are getting murdered and slaughtered. It's hard to stop it. It's hard to stop it. It's a conflict
I
that just
mean,
goes
we
on
gotta
and
put
on
a
and
we
on.
gotta put a light on it, basically. Put a light on it.
Put
That's
a
the
light
only
back
way,
on it.
man, to just show how ridiculous it is, and show what's behind it. To show what's behind it.
Yeah.
It's not just happening for any reason. It's the same thing in the U.S. What tactic did they use? They first spread bigotry, spread that, make the whole environment about pointing the finger at one group. And then, then they scapegoat that group. In our case, it was woke people and, immigrants and woke and, the whole clan of people, women that want to have an abortion, gays, blacks, Jews, everybody, Hispanics, right? Asians, just on and on, Caribbean people, on and on, right? Africans, just the whole list. And then you find out these people are like, they really want taxpayer dollars though. They really need taxpayer dollars. It's like, they're like injecting their veins with taxpayer dollars. Elon Musk, Peter Thiel. It's all a scam to get poor people to kill each other. And then the rich people can get away with whatever they want to get away with. It's crazy. They're fueling, if there is some ethnic bickering, they're fueling it. Basically, right? So,
There's another conflict that's going on in Rwanda. I won't get into that again. But the thing in the Congo was something that Trump tried to say he stopped. That's been going on since forever. It was just in 1994, all those that the Hutu they got pushed out of Rwanda into the Congo. And when they went there, they started hunting down all the Tutsis that were there.
Right.
And so the Rwandan government sent M23 in there to go after them, to catch them, and to hunt them down. Like, we had no problem with letting the Israelis hunt down old Nazis. We had no problem with that.
Right.
But yet we had a problem with the Rwandan government hunting down the Hutu who committed the genocide.
Yeah, I mean,
and so
I think
it's just that part bothers me.
Well, I don't think it's. I just think it's like the rule of law, man. People, even if you hunt these people down and kill them, I think personally myself, this is just my view, and I'm not judging people who do it however they want to do it, but my view is like this: if you want to prove to people you're better yourself, then you don't do the same things. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I don't agree with that.
But I'm not calling it.
You have to hunt them down. You have to hunt them down. Those who felt guilty came back to Rwanda, turned themselves in, and they faced a trial.
No,
and
but
they got a fair trial.
You mean hunt? You mean arrest them? I'm not saying you shouldn't arrest them. I thought you meant hunt down as like kill them. You know what I'm saying?
They do, because if you don't come back, because understand, they went into the Congo and continued killing Tutsi. They're committing genocide all the time to this day in the Congo of Tutsis.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, don't you need to have a trial? You know what I'm saying? Don't you need to have a legal process? That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, there is legal process. If they come back to Rwanda, so if they come back to Rwanda and turn themselves in, it says in 1994, I went here and killed 1,000 people. They'll say, okay, well, Paul, and they make you. I mean, look up about the trials there. I'm just saying it's a legal process. They're not just out there.
There is a legal process.
Yeah, they're not just out
there. But
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but the M23 is out there hunting them down. There's no legal process. They find out these guys are in this town, in the Congo. They just killed this village 2 days ago. They run these guys down and they kill them all.
Yeah, man.
They don't bring them back. They don't bring them back. I mean, that's what M23 is doing.
Yeah, and all this is doing is going to create another problem because, again, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not time. It's the right time to have that conversation, but. I mean,
yeah, we'll talk about that again.
Yeah, because that's a big conversation to be had, actually. But
the Nazis escaped to Argentina, and they know they're down there, and there's not a single one that's been held accountable.
Yeah,
they live there.
They should deal with that. People should deal with that, man. It's you shouldn't be able to escape crimes. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be able to escape crimes. Period. Especially crimes like this. This is killing people, murdering people,
genocide.
Genocide and things like that. So you shouldn't be able to escape that. You know what I mean? That's actually bad to do that. You know what I mean? But it also should be some sort of legal process. But as you know, look, when we deal with people, the higher ups, the legal process is slow. When you're dealing with certain people, it's just like,
it doesn't exist.
Yeah, the legal process almost doesn't even exist, man. You know what I mean? And people can watch it. I mean, and when is the legal process going to start in Sudan? I mean, have they really gone through that yet?
It has started. Yeah.
Okay.
Understand. Omar al-Bashir was removed from power.
Mm-hmm.
He was the president who oversaw the genocide. He was the one who gave the Janjaweed permission to go and to Darfur and commit the genocide.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on the ground, and he sent aircraft above to provide them cover and to provide them fire from the air while they were committing the genocide on the ground.
Did he die?
No, I think he's still alive. I think he just got. I gotta look it up. I think he either got run out of the country or he got arrested. But they prosecuted a lot of his people for the genocide.
But they never got him. He's in Saudi Arabia.
2020.
He's in Saudi Arabia.
Is he in Saudi Arabia?
I think.
Yeah.
I think that's where he ran
to.
It says he's in Ardaman. Hold on. The late Bashir moved from military facility in Ardaman to. He's in Khartoum. What? He's in jail.
So is he in custody? Oh, good.
He's in custody. Oh, and he's 82. Okay, he's in. I thought he escaped.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's imagine if Donald Trump is arrested for his crimes, and then his cult goes someplace else, and they want to come back and form the government by force. This is what we're dealing with. So, and again,
and you know what?
The government of what?
I just realized, and who was his allies? He was tight with Saudi Arabia, right? Bashir?
No, UAE.
The UAE.
Bashir was tight with
He was UAE. Tight with the UAE. Okay, there you go. So that's
why the UAE supports those guys.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, They want to bring them back. They want to make Sudan great again.
Okay, all right, right, yeah, they want to magnify it in the African
They want to
way,
magnify it.
which
Yeah.
means get rid of
Yeah.
the blacks. All right, man.
Get rid of the black. Get rid of the woke.
Yeah,
All
get
right.
rid of the
Well,
wokes.
good chat.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for hopping up, Fries, and helping me kind of go through
For
this
sure.
information because it's a lot of stuff, and to be honest, I don't like to. It's a lot of work. It's better to talk with people, get somebody to hop up that really has been really looking at that, that dynamic in a specific region, rather than to just ad hoc it all the time because it's also a big history. It deserves justice, like what's really going on there, and people deserve an opportunity to really know what's happening in Sudan, especially as it juxtaposed with the Middle East. Like, it's the same damn people. It's the same people. I'm talking about the people that are funding the stuff, that are supporting different sides. It's the same people in the Middle East that are in this situation right now.
Okay. Everybody wants the Sudan to have peace. This is the problem. And so everybody has put the money into it, and then all of a sudden the war breaks out, and you have to pick a side.
Right.
And Putin wants to pick both sides because he's profiting off each one. But the truth of the matter is, well, he does give a damn. It's just that it's really complicated. I mean, again, all this is really complicated.
He wants his cake and eat it too. He wants the gold mines and he wants the port. He wants the gold mines and he wants the port. What the fuck?
If he goes with the government, he won't be able to get the gold mines because once it comes back online again, it'll be sanctioned by the world courts. But as long as it's the Janjaweed, he can get the gold, that helps on his war.
Yeah. He
so
wants.
It's just complicated. It's complicated.
I wonder when China is gonna flip on Russia. I wonder, man. I'm just wondering when that's gonna happen.
Never. We can get into that later on. But this is why they're never going to flip on Russia, because they need China is their number one trading partner right now. I think it was USA. The number 2 is Russia for oil.
Really? Oh, for oil, right?
Because
oil.
Because of this war, they're getting Russian oil as cheaper than Russia wants to give it to them.
Yeah, they're getting all the Russian oil.
About it.
Yeah, that's true.
For dirt cheap. And so they're taking complete advantage of Russia. Plus, they need water from Siberia, and they're getting that from Russia too.
Right.
So they're like only way. This is how this should end. A president comes in, we break up Russia, we give Siberia to China, and China would not do it. China would not intervene.
Okay,
but
that sounds great. I would like that.
Do you know that Russia and China have a deal going that they made back in 92 or so? That if one gets in the fight with the U.S., the other will join it. Do you know that they have an alliance?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know this or not? It's a national treaty that they have, and then they brought North Korea into the treaty, and then they also brought Iran to the treaty. Mm-hmm. So look that up. There's a treaty. Yeah. So this is the reason why they have to help one another. Like, this wasn't suspected. Or Putin told Trump to do it. I don't know. It's hard to say. Well, but again,
either way. But
it's really complicated.
That's probably I think definitely that they're friends. They got some. Trump has to do it. Whatever he's doing, he has to do it. But it's interesting, the treaty between the others. So let's look into that.
Yeah.
All right, Fries, man.
Treaty.
Well, good looking out.
We'll
man,
talk
for
again.
Hopping up. Yeah, man. I appreciate you.
Good. Eric, Yvonne, everybody. It's good talking to you guys. I'll be back in the chat. Talk to you later.
Yeah. Okay, man. All right, guys. Look, I'm gonna be out. It's about what is it? It's how long has this been? It's 3.5 hours. So I got to be out of here. But it was actually a good conversation. I didn't even realize Fries was there. So as soon as I started calling out, then he hopped up and shit. And then, but yeah, listen. This situation, I would advise people again. The EU, I would advise do exactly what you're doing. Stay out of it. Let the people who started this war take responsibility for this war. And yes, it is another trap. Just like Greenland was a trap, this is a trap. It has to be dealt with cautiously. You know what I mean? Cautiously. Try your best to stay far away from Donald J. Trump in any place that he goes, because there's a built-in booby trap. There's a built-in blown out bridge for you, just waiting for you. So I was happy to see the EU say, nah, we don't want to prioritize this Trump thing. And then on top of it, you would be humiliated because he's already talked down to you. Why help a fucker that talks down to you and doesn't respect you? And let me tell you, Donald J. Trump doesn't respect you. And it's not a big deal because he doesn't respect anybody. You see what I mean? So don't take it too hard, but just beware. He doesn't respect you. But it's not personal because he doesn't respect Americans. He don't respect American citizens. He doesn't respect Canadians. He doesn't respect anybody. So, you would just humiliate yourself trying to deal with Donald J. Trump. So whatever you do, stay away from that and keep doing the rest of what you're doing because things will change. Also, Canada, Carney, Mexico, everybody else, let's Voltron. It's time to shape shift and change, man. Fuck this because life is too precious to have it wasted by congressional members and senators in a Supreme Court that just seems to think this is normal. That just thinks this is going somewhere good. They haven't had enough yet. The Supreme Court, the Congress, and the Senate of the United States and the military apparently haven't had enough yet. They haven't had enough of Donald J. Trump. Okay, we'll see how long that lasts, and we'll see if you have a country left, after that, because I don't think you will. You take too many more hours to figure this out, man. Shit, you ain't going to be fighting for a country because it's going to be destroyed from the inside, and it's going to be destroyed through this corruption and this situation they got going on with Putin. So the Epstein files, whatever is in there, is bad. So, all right, y'all. Peace. I appreciate everybody.
Crime babies looking for food, starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day, and every crew, don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums. With degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death ode? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack, and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in a way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute, you might hear, but they won't, cause the TVs whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. I think about, does love still exist? Yeah, I have my doubts. On the street, I check out how brothers be living. Yo, let's just say, kid, it ain't no Thanksgiving. We got people shooting dope, ain't never heard of hope. We got others with the gat and the brothers with the fucking scope. As I enter the project center rec rooms, some brothers might see the doom. I see my nigga Paulo, fat pockets of papes. He knows the neighborhood biddies with all the dopest shapes. There goes Rollo with the blowout fro. He's got a gap, hey yo niggas gots to go. No show is live with narrating, fuck Memorex. My nigga Rollo's got a gat at Paulo's chest. One slug blasted out, down boy died. Now show me some love, kid, it sounds like a fucking yes, you lie.
know the struggle goes on. People trying to survive, hold on. But we know it's been so long. Pain without a limit, so wrong.
Sometimes I think how the world come to this, a place where every man and woman needs a therapist. Mass confusion, people living in delusion, justify all the bullshit through the Constitution. Meanwhile, the masses struggle to survive. I think we're too busy to hear our people's cries. Singles mothers struggle to raise families. Genocide committed through famine and disease. I wonder if these things will ever cease to exist. I know it could if we cease and desist. Giving all the power to the industrialists, giving all our power to the damn commercialists. They see us just as being sheep in this world. They want us to do what we're told, like boys and girls. Oh God, I wanna live another day so I can help provide equality
And
this
yes, you
day.
know the struggle goes on. People trying to survive, hold on. Though we know it's been so long. Pain without a limit, so wrong.
Everybody around the globe, open up your earlobe, your third eye, and then decipher the code. Through knowledge, understanding, then bring love into the concept instead of bling bling. Truth instead of biased educational methods. Twisting, contorting God's message of love for every human being. Listen, motherfucker, don't you hear the screams? It's time to do much more than talk, debate, and spread hate. We need to think and at the same time investigate. Understand what our actions may create. Before continuing the cycle we procreate. We can clone humans, but at the same time we can't feed humans. The future of man is actually looming. It's really depressing, it's true.
And yes, you know the struggle goes on. People trying to survive, hold on. But we know it's been so long. Pain without a limit, so wrong.
I know how to see a whack MC when he bustin', but I just back away real cool, no fussin'. I'd rather go kicking in the streets with the bums and use the knowledge to collect what? Some funds. Open a non-profit and build a damn school. And this is the story of how a great king rules. There's many that claim to know the local demographic, but don't have the nerve to tell you the truth. It's tragic, but I do, so sit back and let me spit this shit to you. You feel better when I spit this shit to you, despite the system trying to clamp down on the people. People will learn how to stand up to evil. Not evil that's across the globe, that's too far, but evil that lies in their own backyard. And fighting, it's not an option, they can't win. The government, it's not supposed to represent sin, but then again they do, and that's a problem. So let's go down and figure out how to solve them. It's not fun being a rapper that can't speak, but we do, yes, and plus we make fat beats. Yo, we smoke weed, break up trees. Listen, bringing fat beats, that is our mission. Who wanted to see us, homeboy? Shut up and listen. Thelonious and Big Bennett, brother, check the vision. Mentalities of different realities. Enter the Star Trek room when you hear the boom. I be the Walkman with the super bass. Automatic stop, yes, stereo cassette player. With the delayer, freaky lyric
lyrical sprayer, extraterrestrial rhyme sayer. I be the poetical VIC/master of the ceremony. Tenderoni, won't you come step with me? I'm on a historical journey, kinda like Sigourney. Implore me to represent the attorney that represents my niggas. Go figure, it's the card. They call me Uncle Bigger. Niggas love your blunts, down your liquors. I read the parallel to the fiction. You're fixated on this brother's nature. Relaxed behavior, I might save your change. Flip it, rearrange. The whole concept, yo, is good for all your brain. Insane, psychotic, neurotic, black onyx, and hooked on phonics. Just atomic, bees like a bonnet. Cut with the Asiatic, they all up on it. Rhyme static with the sporadic type of skill. You wonder, is this nigga Vic really for real? It's still, but only necessary in the very. I'm milk like dairy, they quite contrary. That's scary, but I'm a dog in the prairie. I scurry to grab my bones and just bury. Lyrical flurry, go get your secretary with impeccable diction. My style might vary, so get a hold of your own shit real fast. Fucking with us, we take it right out your ass. Prairie dogs chill while the other dogs howl. So too many dogs get sent to the pound. Back on the hill, me and my peeps just lounge. Prairie dogs, we keep it on the down. Splatter, don't like gun splatter. We try to climb the ladder, wicked men get better. They make it like splatter, but it really don't matter. Cause you know we coming back to our sons and our daughters. Father, him the one who protects ya, and the mother, she will never neglect ya. Through divine nature, the people respect ya, and in this way I deliver my lecture.